Dear listeners, thank you for your incredible support in helping our channel grow. We're aiming for 1,000 subscribers, so please support us by subscribing and helping us reach this milestone. Now let's start the story. Present, Mira, at the hospital. I traverse to the frontalmost desk and inquire, where is the sleeping domicile of Zarika and Yasmin Blank? Yes, the little female Seleucus were brazen enough to use my Ben's last name, an error that would certainly be rectified. The lady presiding at the frontal desk informed me, I am sorry, but visiting hours are over and you must leave the hospital. I present her with further information, but I am a patient here and would like to visit my friends. The matron becomes intractable. If you're a patient here, then you need to be in your room. Visiting hours are over. Now I insist that you return to your room. Rendering aid to my sister Irinka is of primary concern, not petty hospital rules, so I negate her verbal assault with a physical assault of my design, which renders her slightly damaged. Then I rotate and oculate her computer terminal, note the room number, and depart haste of post. Present, Alexei, at the hospital. I am slightly shocked that my sisters hold Lieutenant Donaldson in such high esteem. To her fault, she does not even perceive the simplest of visible threats from Zarika and Yasmin to her ill-wished matrimonial machinations concerning Ben Blaine. In addition, she is totally unaware of my sister's yet hidden designs on her betrothed, to say nothing of my potential assistance to my sister's plans. However, I hold such thoughts in check and delay any comment or action because my sisters are seldom incorrect regarding their evaluation of opponents. Lieutenant Donaldson continues her annoying verbiage. So Alexei, what's it like finding out you weren't an only child and have two beautiful sisters? I did not wish to delve into this topic with her, so I counter, Lieutenant Donaldson. Earlier you mentioned your perceived mistake with your actions toward Ben Blaine. You alluded to the fact that he might be mentally programmed. I find this fascinating and would appreciate it if you greatly expound on this subject. Lieutenant Donaldson smiles and begins to answer the question when my sister Mira bursts through the door and declares, Alexei, we must depart haste of post. Our sister Ira has been damaged. Being ever ready for impending action, I leap from my chair as Lieutenant Donaldson remarks. Present, Jens, at the hospital. Mira flies into the room, tells us Ira has been injured and she wants to go to her. I remind her, Mira, you can't leave the hospital right now because you are supposed to stay overnight. Mira argues, Lieutenant Donaldson, my slight trauma is of minuscule concern compared to the welfare of my sister Ira. Alexei and I are departing haste of post without or with you. You would be foolish to attempt to detain us. Zarika and Yasmin add to the confusion. Ms. Donaldson, can we return home too? Mira reminds us, there is no time to delay. We must depart now. Lieutenant Donaldson, if you do not believe the graveness of the situation, use your mobile phone to contact the cabin. Come Alexei, we must leave now. Alexei follows Mira out of the room as I look at the girls and admit, I guess I need to call the cabin. I take out my mobile phone, dial the number, but no one answers. Perhaps Mira was onto something. I dial Jack's mobile phone and still receive nothing. I try Liz's phone, but it goes right to voicemail, so I leave a message. Liz, is something going on at the cabin? If so, let me know when you get this call. I look at the girls and order, let's get you two packed. We're headed back to the cabin. The girls shock me when Yasmin asks, Miss Donaldson, might Zarika and I share a room again? I agree with conditions, we will give it a try again, but no fighting. Now let's get packed. Present, Alexei, leaving the hospital. Of all the ill times for my sister Mira to interrupt, I was going to acquire a very important factoid for my upcoming mission, Operation Myra's Matrimonial Bliss. However, I understand that current family safety takes precedence, so I race out of the room with Mira. She pauses in the hallway, doubles over, and says, Alexei, I must latch my breath. I correct her, Mira, that is catch your breath. Can you expound on Ira's injury? Mira replies, unfortunately I cannot. However, I did feel extreme revulsion, fear, and pain. We acquire the elevators, descend to the first floor, and I inquire, how are we to acquire transportation? Mira directs her finger to the obvious choice and orders, Alexei, you will operate that vehicle used for the conveyance of the infirm. I smile with anticipation and question, am I authorized to operate the emergency lights and siren? Mira states, yes, this trip requires haste of post. We liberate the ambulance and I acquire real-life practice for my future gaming sessions of Grand Theft Auto. Present, Masha, in the tunnels. Sometimes love is the most bitter pill to swallow. My greatest desire is to render aid to my one true love, Jack, who is my first and greatest responsibility. However, I cannot place our son in harm's way or chance exposing the remainder of the team to the rodent onslaught. The images I saw were more than troublesome. These were not ordinary ratus because they displayed no fear of man. Quite the opposite, they seem to be attracted. No, excited by the smell of humans. I perform a quick prayer, and we commence inspection of the subterranean tunnels. A problem that is compounded by my son, Ivan, squirming like a fish out of water. Present, Ben, Austin, Texas. The damn mongrel herd of fat cows with the cattle prods and tasers chase me and the damn yippy little dog into the building. The dog runs up a red ramp on the inside of the building to the first landing where the ramp reverses direction, then she sits down and barks at me. Hell, I followed the dog this far and I might as well keep going, so I haul up the ramp and stop beside the damn yippy dog in question. Okay, what the hell am I supposed to do now? As if the little dog knows what I'm asking, she starts barking, then jumps against some barrels. What the hell is she doing? I figure out what she's trying to tell me, so I tip one of the barrels over, determine it's empty, then I push it down the red ramp. It creates a hell of a noise as the barrel accelerates at a tremendous rate of speed. Unfortunately, the barrels don't stop the mongrel herd of fat cows. They run around them or jump over them, and all it does is piss them off even more. Damn, something about this seems familiar to me. I've depleted the supply of empty barrels, so I look at the dog in question. Well, that didn't work. Do you have any other great ideas? The little dog barks, jumps on a box, then over to a higher box, and finally up to the next red ramp, where she hauls up the ramp. I see the horde of women approaching and decide running seems like the best idea to me. But instead of using the boxes, I climb a blue iron ladder and take off after her. The ramp terminates at the other end of the building, where we find more barrels. There's no need to ask the damn little dog what to do this time. I kick the barrels over and push them down the ramp. I get lucky this time and take out a couple of the fat cows, but that only further infuriates the rest of the herd. One of them yells, "I want his balls as a trophy on the wall of my den." I taunt, "You are one sick fat cow bitch, and you'll have to catch us first." Once again, I run out of barrels. The little dog barks like crazy because she can't make the jump up to the next ramp. Oh, she tries, and it's comical as hell. But it's too damn high, and there are no boxes to help her. So I pick her up, give her a little toss, and she lands perfectly. Then she looks over the edge of the ramp and begins to bark. I grab the iron ladder and climb up to the next ramp. However, I about shit my pants when one of the women yells, "I'll get you, my pretty boy, and your little dog too." I taunt again, "I don't think so. You didn't bring your flying monkeys, you damn witch." The little dog barks like crazy. It almost sounds like she's laughing at my joke, but that couldn't be. We haul up this red ramp and reach the opposite end of the building. The little dog doesn't get close to these barrels, and I figure out why when I touch the first one. They are coated with something nasty and slimy, so I tip the barrels over and push them down the ramp. As the first barrel bowls over the lead cow, she triggers her taser, sparks fly everywhere, which promptly sets whatever shit is on the outside of the barrel and her on fire. The next barrel rolls into her and catches fire, then the damn fire starts following the trail of slimy, sticky shit back toward me, and each successive barrel catches on fire. The burning cow begins to scream bloody murder. The rest of the herd join her howling, and the smoke and fire triggers the fire alarm. The noise from the rolling, flaming barrels, the howling herd, and now the fire alarm is almost deafening. But the herd of fat cows doesn't stop. They keep coming. So the damn little dog and I keep retreating up the ramps until we reach the 6th floor, and that's when the little dog and I run out of luck. We are at the top of the building. There are no more blue iron ladders to climb and no more red ramps. I kick over the last of the barrels, send them rolling down the ramp, but the mongrel herd of fat cow women keep coming. I hear the little dog barking, look around, and realize she's gone into a different room. I run into the room, block the door with all the shit I can find just in time because the fat cows are beating the hell out of the door. Then I can't believe what the damn little dog has found. This might just save both of us. I grab the little dog and dive. But I keep getting a feeling I've seen this so many times before. But where? Present, Stacy, at the vet's. Samantha's pissed off horse-shooting husband is rolling toward me in his wheelchair. He's going to beat the shit out of me with a couple sticks for spilling some of the water we used to clean Wojciech on him while he was being a shit and sleeping. I apologize, Frank. I'm sorry I spilled the water on you. It was childish of me. Can't we just let bygones be bygones? He continues advancing and swears, "All you've done, you damn gash, is to come between me and my wife. I'm sick and damn tired of it, and now you're going to pay. When I'm done with you, you won't be able to sit for a week." Samantha screams at him, "Honey, you'd better not lay a finger on her." He laughs, "Keep talking, Sam, because you're next. I've been too kind to you, and it's time you learn your place." Samantha runs off crying. I'm backed into a corner. He begins to raise one of the sticks when there's a huge growl behind him. He turns just in time to see Wojciech jump on top of him. I egg him on, "Bite the hell out of him, Wojciech." They're rolling around on the floor fighting. Wojciech is growling like crazy while the damn horse shooter is yelling bloody murder. The vet runs in and demands, What the hell is going on this time? I laugh and answer, the damn horse shooter was going to beat the shit out of me with a couple sticks, but Wojciech came to my rescue. The vet runs over, grabs Wojciech by the scruff of the neck and orders, "That's enough of that. Leave that man alone." Wojciech backs off, but the damn horse shooter takes a swing at him with one of the sticks. Wojciech grabs it with his mouth and snaps the stick like it was a toothpick. Then when we think it's all over, something terrible happens. Present, Tom and Byron rescue Inga. Inga and I are shooting the shit out of the narcotic lord's army, which seems to be everywhere. Byron's doing his usual great job of driving. We're almost out of trouble when Byron announces, "Shit, they hit the radiator." I order, "We'll drive the shit out of this car until it dies." He mouths off, "Well, what the hell did you think I was going to do? Stop and whistle Dixie for them." Inga suggests, "Perhaps we can find a parking structure to hide within." Byron mutters, "Finally, something that's useful." Sometimes Tom drives me crazy when he orders the obvious. Of course I'm going to drive this car until it dies. Inga, however, comes up with a great idea, so I slide us around a corner, and Inga yells, "Byron, turn right into there." I crank the wheel as hard as I can. The back of the car breaks loose, and we slide sideways through the entrance into a parking garage. I kill the lights and slowly move through the shadows. Inga says from the back seat, "We need to find someplace so I can inspect Tom's wound." Tom complains, "I don't need any woman looking at my butt." I add to the discussion, "Well, I'm sure as hell not going to look at that wrinkly old thing, and you're not flexible enough to dress it yourself." I see a nice parking place, without too much light, pull the car in and shut it off. It's time for me to take control of the situation, so I order, "Tom, seeing as you're wounded, I am assuming command. Inga, take care of Tom's, and see if you can find some clothes to wear." I get ready to leave, and Tom complains, "Where the hell are you going?" I answer, "Reconnaissance, otherwise known as terrestrial foreplay for successful ground warfare." Tom continues to complain, but I don't hear him because I've already taken my rifle and left the car. I complain, "What the hell are you talking about? Don't tell me we're going back after that scumsucker." But he doesn't hear me, or he pretends to not hear me. What the hell is Byron doing? It sounds like that crazy old coot is going to launch another attack against the narcotic lord's compound. Damn Marines. You get one of them pissed off, and they go off half-cocked. Present, Maria, in the back of a state trooper's car. The stupid fake trooper loses control of the stolen car after I kick out the back window. Now we're rolling end over end, and I'm getting thrown around in the damn back seat, getting the hell banged out of me. I try to brace myself between the seats, but it still doesn't work. We finally come to a stop upside down. I crawl through the back window, slide out from under the trunk, and smell gas everywhere. I'm pissed as hell, and I'm going to kick some serious butt. I walk around to the driver's side door, look inside, and the scumsucker is gone. It's a good damn thing, because I was going to rip his damn head off and shit down his neck. No scumsucker threatens to assault me and gets away with it. I sit on a rock, begin to calm myself, when, son of a bitch. Time to duck and run. Present, Linus, Matt, and Jim, headed to Dallas. Jim's excellent driving avoids the roadblock, but then he must have hit a hell of a rock, because the car immediately stops, and the airbags deploy. I yell, "Is everyone okay?" Matt says, "My neck hurts like hell, but I'll survive." Jim answers, "I think the airbag broke my arm, but it's not displaced. How about you? Are you okay?" I answer, "I have a broken nose, but other than that I'm fine." Matt complains, "Well, this is one fine mess. We're stranded." I think for a moment and say, "Like hell we are? It's time to nut up or shut up. We're going back to the roadblock and commandeer a vehicle. Grab your weapons, lock and load." Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. Masha was slowly waking up after fainting caused when I proposed to her, and I was still chuckling about Ben. He was such a clown sometimes, but he sure kept life interesting. Masha opened her eyes and asked, "Jack, please do not tell me you are laughing at me for fainting." I gave her a hell of a kiss and said, "Oh hell no. I was laughing at Ben. He rolled by here a while ago, riding on top of his bedside table, looking for Tatiana." She gave me a look that told me she didn't believe me and stated, "Jack, that sounds like a fairy tale. Do not tell me you are already lying to me now that we are practically engaged." I started to explain things when a whole circus paraded past. Ben was in a wheelchair, Tatiana was pushing him, and they were followed by a gaggle of orderlies. Masha saw Tatiana and immediately requested verification. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. I could not believe it. Ben cautiously handed me my underwear, but it was such an embarrassment. Thank God the orderlies did not see the clandestine transfer, or my reputation would be tarnished. And now we proceeded to return Ben to his room, because President Putin wanted to see him. I was sure it was regarding Ben's role in Beslan, but it was uncomfortable to think of meeting President Putin when I was fully dressed, let alone when I was missing a vital piece of my clothing. I only hoped that he or the reporters would not discover my missing garment. I saw Masha and Jack sitting on some chairs in the hallway. Masha questioned as we passed, was Ben actually writing on his bedside table? I responded, yes. The crazy fool almost rolled down the stairs. Ben complained, who are you calling a crazy fool? At least I'm wearing all my clothes. Damn, I forgot Ben spoke Russian. I blushed and apologized. Ben, I am sorry, but it was very foolish to come after me. Masha further asked, Tatiana, to which piece of clothing is Ben referring? I blushed and ignored the question. Thank God Ben laughed and deflected the question when he stated, not as foolish as you running away from me. By the way, you need to congratulate Jack and Masha. I questioned, congratulate them for what? Masha blurted, Jack and I are almost engaged. Ben yelled at Masha, which in turn caused Jack to become upset. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. What the hell? Ben started yelling in Russian at Masha. I didn't care if he was my sniper. No one yelled at my woman unless they wanted their butt kicked. I jumped up and yelled back, Ben, what in the hell are you doing yelling at Masha? Take it back, or I will kick your butt. Ben replied, Jack, don't get your panties in a bunch until you know what the hell is going on. Masha just told Tatiana that you two are almost engaged. Now I thought you told me you proposed to her. I felt like a fool and verified, hell, I did propose to her. I looked at Masha and asked, sweetheart, I asked you to marry me. Aren't we engaged? She looked down at the floor and confessed, Jack, my love, until I have an engagement ring on my finger, it will not seem official to me. I came up with an immediate fix. Hell, we can take care of that minor problem right now. Let's go find a jewelry store. Masha got excited until Tatiana said something which troubled her. I demanded, what the hell is wrong now? Tatiana answered, Jack, President Putin is waiting for Ben in his room. I replied, what the hell is he doing here? Ben suggested, we won't know unless we get back to my room before he leaves. I take over pushing Ben while Masha and Tatiana start clucking like a pair of hens. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. Damn, it was funny as hell being the fly on the wall. Masha and Tatiana often forgot that I spoke and understood Russian. Yeah, Jack should really learn more Russian because if he knew what they said, he would laugh his butt off. In fact, if most men heard what their women said about them, they would be shocked. We wrongly assume that the things we say or do, especially sexual things, were kept private, and that was a huge mistake. Women shared everything, including the size, with each other. Yet when it came right down to it, they liked to brag about their men, just like their men liked to brag about their women. I did have some concerns about how this would affect my blossoming relationship with Tatiana. I mean, she was a hell of a woman, but I sure didn't want to get married. I was too damn young. We rolled up to my room and stopped when I heard a hell of a bunch of yelling. Damn, I thought I recognized that voice. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. We got to Ben's room, and it sounded like World War III was happening just inside. I heard a familiar voice order. What the hell is wrong now? Get the hell off me. Some female yelled in Russian. It must have been bad because Masha and Tatiana blushed. The next thing I knew, some bodyguards hauled Major M and some Russian female out into the hallway. The major saw me and demanded, Sergeant Reynolds, what the hell did you do to me this time? The bodyguards paused and glared at me. Masha said something to them, and they roughly carted the major and the woman away while Ben laughed like crazy. I leaned over and whispered, what's so damn funny? Ben replied, Masha told the bodyguards we didn't know who Major M was. Masha explained, if we had admitted knowing the major, then they would have taken us into custody. Ben's doctor came out of the room and tried to displace me as the official wheelchair pusher. I made a fist like I had before, and suddenly he had second thoughts and stated, President Putin is waiting to see my patient. I started to will Ben into the room when he complained, Jack, do we really have to? I laughed and replied, hell yes we have to. It's time for you to pay for your crazy heroics. And then I pushed the wheelchair into the room. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. Jack pushed Ben's wheelchair into his room, and amazingly, there stood President Putin with several of the military commanders of Russia. I was shocked that the president was still here since he was not known for his patience when he was forced to wait for others. President Putin asked, will someone translate for me? Ben replied, in almost flawless Russian, Sir, we will not need a translator. Your Russian is excellent. I fought back laughter from Ben's little joke and hoped he didn't offend the president. The president smiled at the joke, walked toward Ben, stood in front of him and declared, Sergeant Blaine, your selfless actions at Beslan resulted in saving numerous hostages and has captured the heart and soul of the Russian people. Such bravery from a person who is not even Russian must be rewarded. I was shocked when Ben interrupted, President Putin, I only did what needed to be done. President Putin smiled again and continued, yes, we were told you were a humble man. However, whether you like it or not, you are a hero of Russia and you will be justly rewarded. Ben interrupted again, President Putin, It is not right for me to be sitting while talking to you. Tatiana, please help me stand. Dr. Kiowarov complained. Sergeant Blaine, you cannot stand. Ben barked. Well, I sure as hell can't sit when meeting the president of Russia. Tatiana, please help me. I proceeded to one side of Ben. Jack assisted with the other side, and we were amazed when Ben issued a protracted groan and somehow stood. Oh, he was not steady, but he was using his legs and feet. Then Ben said, Sir, now that I am standing, please continue. President Putin displayed a document and officially declared, Sergeant Blaine, from this day forward you are an honorary Russian citizen. Here is your documentation and Russian passport. Now that you are a Russian citizen, we award you our highest recognition, the hero of the Russian Federation. I was shocked. I had heard of people who had received this honor, but this was unheard of. Ben's voice cracked, and it was obvious he was crying when he said, Thank you, sir, for such a great honor, but it's the hostages and the survivors that deserve this award. President Putin gently questioned, Sergeant Blaine, is your pain so great that it causes you to weep? Ben replied, No, sir. I am not crying for my pain. I am crying for Russia that she had to endure the pain of this terrible tragedy. President Putin stated, I am in awe of your understanding of the Russian soul. Unfortunately, we must go, but if you need anything, Sergeant Blaine, just contact me. Ben then asked for the most amazing things. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. I was shocked. Oh, I'd received medals before, but this medal was special because it came with a Russian citizenship. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to all work out. I mean, could I be an American Marine and a Russian citizen at the same time? I did some quick thinking and figured it was probably a big coup for the Corps if I was both, so I didn't worry any more about that. Then when President Putin asked if I needed anything, I figured I would ask and see how damn serious he was. So I responded, President Putin, I would like to ask for 3 favors. He replied, Yes, Sergeant Blaine, continue. My heart jumped when Ben asked. First, I would like for Tatiana to be assigned permanently as my full-time nurse. President Putin looked at Dr. Kiowarov and ordered, Consider it done. Ben continued, I was also hoping you could help my best friend Jack. He has just proposed to Masha. Would it be possible for one of your people to take care of the paperwork so they can be married? He answered, My secretary will personally take care of this. Ben finally said, And about the man that was taken out of here earlier, I recognized his voice. He is our major, but seems to keep having some sort of problem with his paperwork. Would it be possible for him to be released to Jack's custody? President Putin motioned to his bodyguard, whispered something to him, and said, It is taken care of. Now we must be going. They left the room, then Ben gritted his teeth, collapsed into our arms and pleaded, Okay guys, I need to get my butt in the bed. Jack carefully picked up Ben, carried him to the bed, and said, Ben, thanks so damn much for the help with Masha. But Ben never heard Jack because he had become unconscious. Dr. Kiowarov rushed to his side and finally performed as Ben's doctor. Flashback, Jens. Now this was very curious. I looked up the Tatiana female dog in the Interpol database, and they had a ton of data on her. I was deep into studying her when my computer began to beep and alert me that there was an active search trying to figure out who connected to the Interpol database. Rats. I terminated the connection before I had the information I wanted on the Tatiana female dog, and what I had seen made me more confused than ever. What sort of crazy kind of nurse was she? I leaned back in my chair, tried to figure things out, but instead decided to study some Russian. Flashback, Major M, in a holding cell. I yelled, You scumsuckers are going to be sorry for locking me up. I will make this an international incident. But the scumsuckers didn't listen to me. Hell, no one listened to me. I was sure it was caused by those damn SGTS. When I get out of here, I am going to order there, but to Antarctica. Hours passed, but I still sat in the cell and wondered when or if I would get out of here. Suddenly, one of the goons came in and motioned to me. Finally, I was going to get out of this damn cell. I hoped it was Vika who had arranged this, but was disappointed to see Sergeant Reynolds when I walked into the office. I walked up to him and complained, It's about damn time you got me out of here. He smiled and corrected me. Hell, it wasn't me. You can thank Ben because he used one of his 3 favors from the president to have you released. I asked the sergeant what the hell he meant, and he related the whole story about Sergeant Blaine meeting President Putin and how Sergeant Blaine had me released into Sergeant Reynolds' custody. I questioned, So just what does this released into your custody mean? The sergeant grinned. I guess it means you have to obey me. I questioned, What the hell about Vika? Sergeant Reynolds replied, What the hell is a Vika? I explained to him about her, and the sergeant added, I guess she stays here because Ben didn't know anything about her. Now let's get back to the hospital. I reminded him, I'm still your commanding officer. The sergeant grinned. Sorry, let's get back to the hospital, SIR. I thought, great, out of the frying pan and into the fire. The day I obeyed a sergeant, especially Sergeant Reynolds, would be the coldest day in hell. Flashback, Mira, Ira, and Safia, in Israel. My sister Ira was incensed. She had assumed Safia would acquire an automobile as a means of conveyance. However, Safia approached driving the cart of ass, and Irinka whined, "I will not depart haste of post in that vehicle. I demand an automobile." Safia states, "You must accept what is available. We were fortunate I could steal this ass cart." Our fiduciary funds depletion rendered this discussion point of moot because the crowd again approached our location. I commanded, "We must depart now or fight the entire crowd." However, there was a major obstacle to our departure: the great girth of the evil man. Irinka sensed the problem. Neither Mira nor I had sufficient strength to collocate the evil man into the vile, filthy, and totally unsuitable cart of ass. I ran to the back to assist Marinka, but our combined selves still did not have the required energy, so I commanded, "Safia, your assistance is greatly needed." Safia aided us, and we finally had the combined energy to relocate the evil man and forcefully dumped him on filthy straw, which crawled with vermin. However, once he was placed in the cart of ass, a problem of a different nature was created. His mass was so great that the ass was lifted from the ground, which agitated the vile animal, so he began to bray annoyingly. Safia stated the obvious, "You two need to ride on the ass so that we can move." I looked at Mira and realized Safia was correct, even though I did not wish to ride upon the ass. Mira acquired my hand. We climbed onto the cart, worked our way out to the ass, and our combined mass allowed the ass to touch the ground. Safia whipped the ass, and we departed in a not-so-haste of post manner. I loudly complained, "Marinka, my derriere will smell like ass." Safia giggled at my comment, which I did not understand. Present, Ira, battleground cabin. Male offspring of a female Saluki. The most vile and foulest of events has occurred. While I was busy exterminating the putrid pestilence at my anterior, one of the vile rodents violates my derriere with its gnashing incisors. I exclaim in pain and order, "We must collocate our posteriors adjacent to one another, so our posterior positions are protected." General Payne and Todd comply with my orders, and we continue to decimate the monsters. My arms have not been this weary from wielding my katana since the days of practice during my youth. Present, Jack, battleground cabin. Thank God, I can finally see a light at the end of this rat-infested tunnel. We must be down to the last 30 or so rats, but they have taken their toll. I've been bit a couple times, and from Ira's yell, I can only assume one got her too. I simply don't know about Todd. I worry like hell about the tunnels. If the scumsuckers came in through the septic system, then that means they also got into the tunnels. I say a quick prayer that Masha and Ivan are okay, but I'm concerned as hell because these rats seem to only be interested in human flesh. Present, Todd, battleground cabin. I let myself slip into the zen state of a rat-killing machine. Yes, my sole existence in this world is the termination of rats, which now occurs automatically using my autonomous nervous system. This frees my mind to analyze the rat attack, and I come to the horrific conclusion that these rats have been trained so that human flesh is their primary food. That is the only logical conclusion as to why they ignore every other food source, and also why they have no fear of man. What sort of diabolical and twisted mind would perform such an abhorrent act? There is only one way to train rats that human flesh is their primary food source. That's by only feeding them human flesh. This fact requires restructuring of the approaching mission to capture Megan. Present, Ira, battleground cabin. Thank God, I slay the last of the vile vermin confronting my anterior position. I slightly oculate to both sides and view that General Payne and Todd have also eliminated their respective raging rodents. Never have I participated in a battle against such a vile, detestable, and despicable foe. Now that the battle is terminated, emotions whelm me over, and not pleasant emotions. The initiator of such a horrifically heinous Ratu's swarm must not just be castigated. They must be eliminated with utmost and extreme prejudice. Such a vile swarm can never be allowed to occur again. I start to rest when General Payne orders. Present, Jack, battleground cabin. Thank God we have survived the onslaught of the rat brigades. I check and both Ira and Todd have killed the last ones in front of them. I would love to rest right now because I'm tired as hell. Hell, my arms feel like rubber from swinging this damn shovel. I bet I could have dug a trench 100 miles long from all the work I've done. But there's no time to rest. We need to make sure the cabin is free of live rats. Then we need to get the hell into the tunnels and make sure everyone is still alive. I figure since Ira made me a general, I would act like one, so I order. I know we're all tired, but we need to secure the cabin and then see if any rats got into the tunnels. Ira adds, "Yes, I have had some concern about my duty to Ms. Morgan because I could not perform my primary mission as her bodyguard." Todd signs, "I killed the men that introduced the rats into the septic system." If the tunnels are connected to the septic system, then there will be rats in the tunnels. I state, first we will sweep the house. Once it's clear, we will approach the tunnels and carefully open the door. We head back into the cabin and begin the sweep. It is all I can do to keep from puking my guts out. Between the rats and the sewage, this place reeks. Jens is going to have fits when she sees and smells this mess. Present, Mira, trip to the cabin. We have traversed a great distance to the cabin in a very short time. I praise Alexei, my brother. Your skills of piloting a motor vehicle are exceptional. To what do you credit this? He replies, thank you, my sister. My driving skills are the result of many hours of practice. I am slightly confused, so I query, Alexei, I have not notated your many hours of driving vehicles. He elucidates with considerable mirth, my sister, my many hours were spent at the computer playing a video game called Grand Theft Auto. I contemplate his response and pose a potential course of action. Perhaps a few hours of auto grand theft could improve my lack of skill in motor vehicle operation. Alexei offers, I would be happy to teach both my sisters the intricacies of that superb game. We arrive at the exterior gate to Ms. Donaldson's property. I traverse to the box of call, press a button, but receive no response. I look at Alexei and opine, some problem must exist in the security system. We must gain entrance to the property by force. Alexei grins and announces, watch this, my sister Mira. Then he performs something that sight of hind seems ill-advised. Present, Alexei, at the cabin. My sister Mira orders me to gain entrance to Ms. Donaldson's compound, so I perform a trick that works extremely well during my Grand Theft Auto sessions. I place the ambulance transmission in neutral, press the accelerator to the floor, slam the transmission into low, and crash into the barricade fence. However, the barricade does not yield. Instead, the airbags deploy on the ambulance. Smoke and steam exit from under the frontal portion of the ambulance, then the motor makes a terrible sound and explodes. I learn a very important lesson. Things which work in Grand Theft Auto do not always work in the real world. Mira rushes over, forces open the damaged door, and questions with sisterly concern, Alexei, I believe you have terminated the vehicle designed to convey infirm people. Has this poorly timed incident injured you? I laugh and explain, my hands were in the optimal position when the airbags deployed, so the only injury is to my pride. However, we will be forced to use bus number 11 to complete our journey. Mira rushes, come Alexei, the essence is time, is all-consuming. We begin to run, however my sister Mira experiences some difficulties. Present, Jack, battleground cabin. We are well into clearing the cabin, have found a few more sick and half-dead rats, when something triggers the damn loud as hell horn. We are all so damn jumpy from the rats, it damn near scares us to death. Ira gains access to one of the control panels and states, someone has foolishly attempted to breach the frontal gate with a vehicle designed for the transportation of the infirm. The gate terminated the aforementioned vehicle, effectively blocking entrance to Ms. Donaldson's compound. I question, what about the occupants? An ambulance could hold a hell of a lot of enemy forces. Ira replies, the cameras, even utilizing thermal detection, do not detect any occupants. I assume the occupants have already exited the terminated vehicle and are en route to the cabin. Screw me. We are trapped between a rock and a hard place. I look at Ira and order, Ira, you need to get your ass up to the front gate and see what the hell is going on. She counters, General SIR. Todd, with his current weapon selection, is more suitably equipped to perform this mission. I ignore the damn General and SIR. Comment, Todd signs that he agrees, so I demand, well, what the hell are you waiting around here for? Get your ass moving. Then he seems to vanish into thin air. I look at Ira and she states, yes, he is a truly formidable ninja. The horn is giving me a headache, so I ask, Ira, do you think you can shut off that damn horn? She punches some buttons on the panel, then all hell breaks loose. Present, Jens, traveling back to the cabin. Zarika, Yasmin and I are in a taxi headed back to the cabin when my mobile phone begins to beep like crazy from multiple emails. I unlock the phone, look at the first message and determine someone has tried to breach the front gate. This can't be good. I order the cabbie, something is going on at my cabin. Do you think you could step on it? He glances over at me and says, sorry, but I don't speed for anyone. Zarika questions, Ms. Donaldson, are there problems? I answer, yeah. We need to get to the cabin as soon as possible because something is going on, but the cab driver isn't cooperating. I look and see a slew of email messages from the security system that don't make any sense. What the hell is going on at the cabin? Then something amazing happens in the cab. Present, Zarika and Yasmin, traveling back to the cabin. I lean over and whisper to Yasmin, we have an opportunity to assist Ms. Donaldson. Yasmin whispers back, yes, but what can we do? I giggle and say, do what I do. I lean over, begin to moan. Yasmin understands and does the same until the driver asks, What's going on with you two? I lie. I think I am going to be sick. Sarika has a good idea to pretend we are sick. So I add, yes, it must have been the hospital food. My stomach is very upset. The driver pulls to the side of the road and jumps out of the taxi. I look at Ms. Donaldson and yell, Ms. Donaldson, steal the taxi. She slides over to the driver's seat, takes control, and we speed off as the driver yells some very bad words at us. Words that I used to frequently use. Present, Jens, traveling back to the cabin. I can't frickin' believe it. When did the girls get so smart? They act sick, so the cabbie pulls over. Once he gets out of the cab, they suggest I steal the cab, and I figure why the hell not. I don't know what's going on at the cabin because of all the crazy emails, so I need to get there yesterday. I can deal with the cab company later. We are almost to the Leadville turnoff, when, what the hell is going on now? Present, Ben, Austin, Texas. The damn little dog and I are barricaded in a room as the mongrel herd of fat cow women were doing their best to break down the door. Then the dog runs over to the window and barks. Damn, this is one smart little dog. There's one of those construction chutes hooked up to the window. You know, the kind that are used when you are remodeling a building so when you throw shit in the tube, it ends up in a dumpster. I grab the little dog, jump feet first into the chute, and try my best to use my feet against the side of the tunnel to slow us down. It doesn't help much, and we are accelerating at an amazing rate. I only hope this chute flares from the building as it gets closer to the ground. Otherwise, the stop at the bottom is going to hurt like hell. But anything is better than letting those witches catch me. Present, Stacy, at the vet's. Wojciech kicks the damn horse shooter's ass for threatening me. The vet pulls Wojciech off him before he really rips him a new one, and we just start to relax, when all hell breaks loose. Bo charges over and begins to stomp and bite the shit out of his nemesis. Frank begins to scream. I laugh like crazy, and the vet complains, "You not-headed horse, you're going to hurt yourself." I decide the vet's right, so I order, Bo, stop it. You're going to hurt yourself. Bo steps back, snorts and snaps at the damn horse shooter, who looks like hell. Then he walks over beside me. I scratch him and praise him. Good Bo. I know you wanted to kill him, but if you did that, then they might have to kill you. The vet concurs. That's right, Missy. We don't cotton to horses killing men in Texas. I defend Bo. Well, if he had not shot Bo in the first place, then think he was going to kick my ass, none of this would have happened. The vet checks the damn horse shooter and announces, between the damn bear and the damn horse, he's really screwed up. I think I'd better call an ambulance for him. As he heads in the house, I look at Bo and Wojciech and advise, I don't like what the vet said, and I don't think we should be here when the ambulance arrives. Wojciech moans, and Bo nickers like they agree. I check Bo and decide if we take it easy, we can probably leave. I stock up my pack with a bunch of veterinary supplies and food, write the vet an IOU for the expenses, take a pistol I find in the damn horse shooter's stuff, grab Samantha's cell phone, saddle up Patches, and we slip out of the barn. Present, Samantha, at the vet's. I cannot believe how Frank talked to me. I thought he loved me, and I was nothing but a possession to him, and this woman isn't any man's possession. I'm now sitting on a hill a short distance from the barn, just trying to put everything in perspective. I heard a bunch of yelling and screaming from the barn, and could only assume the worst for Stacy. I hope that she sends that scumsucker husband of mine to jail for beating her, and I hope he stays there forever. I'm crying my eyes out when I can't believe what I see. It's Stacy riding her horse while being followed by Ben's horse, that my damn husband shot, and that smelly damn bear. Even in the midst of my grief, my reporter instinct kicks in. I need to know what's going on. They are moving really slow, so I run over. Stacy sees me and asks, Samantha, what the hell are you doing out here? Using one of my favorite reporter tricks, I answer her question with a question of my own. Stacy, I think the bigger question is, what do you think you're doing? I heard all the screams, and I thought my scumsucker husband beat you to death. She grins and explains, well, your husband found out the hard way not to mess with me, because I have powerful friends. Wojciech almost ripped him a new one when he was going to attack me, and then Bo nearly finished him off. The vet was upset with both Bo and Wojciech, so I figured we needed to get the hell out of Dodge before they tried to do something to either of them. I am sure Stacy picked up the Dodge phrase from her time with Ben, and I would sure like to know more about the time they spent together. Shoot. I am torn. Should I go and take care of my husband, who was going to beat me? Or should I see if I could stay with Stacy? I make the decision and ask, Stacy, I really can't go back to my husband. Could I travel with you? She almost instantly replies, Samantha, that might be the wisest thing you've ever done. No woman should ever be hit by a man. You're welcome to come with us, but I'm sorry you're going to need to walk, because Bo isn't well enough yet to carry a rider. I reply, that's fine with me as long as you don't move too fast. Anyway, I've put on some weight and need to work it off. Stacy responds, while I'd like to get the hell out of here as fast as possible, we need to move slowly for Bo. I decide to push my luck, so I ask, Do you mind if I pick up a few things first, like my cell phone and my pistol? Stacy laughs and confesses, Sam, I'm sorry to tell you, but I already took those things. For a second I think about getting angry with her, then decide I would probably do the same thing if I was in her position. Stacy nudges her horse, and as we slowly walk away from the vet's place, I wonder how my life is going to change this time. Present, Byron, reconnaissance, otherwise known as terrestrial foreplay for successful ground warfare. I've had my fill of this bullshit, and it's time to do something about it. No one hurts my friends and a woman and gets away with it. I leave Tom in Inga's hands because when he gets hurt, he becomes a real pain in the ass, and I don't want to listen to his whining. Besides, I need to keep both of them occupied while I get busy. I run up the stairs so I can get a better lay of the land and come up with a battle plan. Oh, Aurora. Present, Maria, recovering from the accident. I'm sitting on a rock trying to shake the cobwebs from the wreck out of my head when the son of a bitch shoots at me. Thank God he was a bad shot and missed. This scumsucker's made one too many mistakes. It's one thing to try to assault me, but a totally different thing trying to kill me. I jump up, dodge like crazy, and run as I hear him laugh. I'm going to just wound you so I can take my time and torture the hell out of you. I make his location and begin to flank him. Present, Linus, Matt, and Jim, headed to Dallas. After Jim wrecked the car escaping from the roadblock, we need new wheels. I order, grab your weapons and lock and load. Bounding Overwatch until we reach the roadblock. There's only one problem. It's a hell of a lot further back to the roadblock than I remembered. But time compresses when you're in a fight or flight situation. We finally reach the roadblock. I look at the guys and say, damn, it looks like they've reset the roadblock. Matt agrees. Yeah, but I don't see the chase vehicles. Jim suggests, we could head up the road. I bet commandeering the chase vehicles would be easier. I make a decision. Okay, bounding Overwatch up the side of the road. As we head up the side of the road, a car and a semi drive by, and Matt says, those are their next victims. We haul ass back to the roadblock, just in time to see the persons in the lead vehicle start shooting the shit out of the roadblock. We hear the chase vehicles coming. Then the back of the semi opens, and screw me. There's a couple guys in the back with saws. M249 squad automatic weapon. They open up on the chase vehicles, which erupt into flames. Matt says, this looks like something Ben would do. Jim concurs. Yeah, remember we heard about how he was the trucker's angel. I bet this is his doing. I reply, right now I don't care. We need to do something before all the vehicles are shot to hell. Flashback, Ben, sometime in the past. Where the hell was I? Wasn't I just in Russia? Now I was. Wait, I remembered this. Oh hell, I went through this once before, and I sure as hell don't want to go through it again. It practically killed me the first time. I closed my eyes, wished for it to go away, opened my eyes, but I was still there. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. Ben slipped into unconsciousness as Jack placed him on the bed after he foolishly stood for President Putin. Dr. Kiowarov rushed up, checked Ben, then ordered a whirlwind of tests. Yes, it was about time he started acting like Ben's doctor instead of a pampered playboy. I understood the change in behavior when a woman walked in. Dr. Kiowarov turned and said, hello, my lovely wife. I wish I had time to greet you right now, but my patient has taken a turn for the worse. What a dog. I had a good mind to tell his wife what he was doing just a few short hours ago. However, I decided now might be an appropriate time to address my partial lack of clothing, so I excused myself and proceeded to the bathroom. Flashback, Jack, returning to the hospital with Major M. Masha joined us after she helped me get the Major released. True to his basic nature, the Major looked at her and rudely demanded, who the hell are you? I could tell his attitude upset the hell out of Masha, and it sure as hell upset me. So I stopped, grabbed him by the arm, spun him around, got in his face and threatened, listen, you pompous scumsucker. You just insulted the hell out of my soon-to-be wife. I suggest you apologize unless you want me to take you back to the holding cell. He gave me an evil grin, then made a hell of a mistake. Flashback, Major M, returning to the hospital with Jack. So Sergeant Reynolds thought he was going to marry this little Russian bitch. I guess he forgot that his commanding officer had to sign off for this to happen. I had waited for a break like this and planned on using it to my utmost advantage. I grinned at Sergeant Reynolds, yanked my arm out of his hand, and stated, Sergeant Reynolds, did you forget that as your commanding officer, I need to approve any marriages? Yeah, I finally had this bull by the horns, but then the little Russian bitch decided to speak her mind. Flashback, Masha, returning to the hospital with Jack and Major M. There was no way I was going to allow this windbag Major to abuse my Jack. He did not know who he was dealing with. I pushed Jack to the side, positioned myself in front of the Major, and he grinned like some stupid clown, so I confronted him. Major M, President Putin is approving our marriage, so your approval is not required. Control your vile mouth before I control it for you. Jack tried to intercede. Masha, this is my fight. I reminded him, Jack, if you strike the major you will create problems. He insulted me, so this is my fight, and I am the one who will deliver punishment. The major continued his silly grin, then he taunted me. I normally don't fight women, but you need to learn a lesson. So take your best shot, bitch. Flashback, Jack, returning to the hospital with Major M and Masha. What the hell? Remind me to never call Masha a bitch. Not that I ever would. Masha just opened up a major can of whoop ass on Major M. The major and I were both shocked when she jumped, spun, and delivered a devastating roundhouse kick that connected with the side of his head. He crumpled to the sidewalk like the bag of shit he was. Then she added insult to injury, or perhaps injury to the insult, when she kicked him square in the balls. The major turned about 3 shades of green, puked all over himself, and passed out. Masha grabbed my hand and ordered, Jack, we will continue to the hospital. I questioned, what about the major? She spat on the ground and replied, what major? Damn, and I thought I needed to protect her? That move was worthy of Ben. But I did have a new problem to contend with since my wife-to-be just soundly kicked my commanding officer's ass. Not that he didn't deserve it, but this could cause problems later. Flashback, Major M. I woke up and son of a bitch. I had a hell of a headache and my crotch felt like it was on fire, but the worst part was some damn Russian policeman was poking me with his nightstick. Shit, I remembered what happened. Jack's little Russian bitch soundly kicked my ass. I quickly sat up and took his damn nightstick away. In hindsight, that might not have been the smartest thing to do. The next instant I was surrounded by Russian policemen and they started to beat the hell out of me with their nightsticks. Screw this shit. I jumped up and began to kick some Russian ass. Flashback, Ben, sometime in the past. I shivered as I huddled around the small fire and tried to keep from freezing. Great-grandfather had just died and Dad went totally insane. The beatings weren't that bad since I was used to them, but then he started talking crazy about how it was my fault that great-grandfather died. He raved on about how I was evil and he needed to purge the evil from me so great-grandfather's spirit could rest in peace. I sure as heck didn't wait around to see what sort of craziness that meant, so I grabbed a few little things and escaped into the mountains. But the mountains around Leadville were harsh in the middle of winter, but not as harsh as a crazy dad. The crazy old fool chased the heck out of me the first day and even shot at me several times. This was one time I was thankful he was drunk because he couldn't shoot worth heck when he was drunk. If he was sober, well, I would have been dead. I really agitated him when I laid a trap for him, let him get close, and then aimed carefully and shot the bottle he was holding with my Colt Frontier Scout. Then I ran away as fast as I could while being chased by poorly aimed bullets. I felt bad doing it, but I knew without his supply of alcohol he would be forced to head back to the cabin, so I justified it as self-defense. Now I was alone in the Colorado wilderness and would need all the survival skills my great-grandfather taught me if I was to survive. I stopped, started a small fire to warm up, but my greatest need was shelter for the coming night. Great-grandfather taught me that a man could live many days without food, a few days without water. However, without shelter you could die within hours. The fire warmed me while I scanned the local area for the best place to make a shelter or find one that's already built for me. I didn't see anything that was suitable, so I threw snow on the fire and headed further into the wilderness. Flashback, Jens. I laid on my bed and tried to figure out what I saw in the Interpol database about the Russian female dog that loved my Ben. I wish I had had more time or could have printed what I saw. I needed help and I knew just the person to help me, Megan. I picked up my Camo Princess phone and dialed her number. She answered. I described everything I saw, and then she surprised me when she replied in Latin. Jens, you're too close to this. It's obvious the bitch is some sort of spy. I laughed because she used the real word for female dog, and I replied in Latin. Megan, how can you be sure she's a spy? Megan scolded me. Jens used pig Latin, not real Latin. I decided to have some fun, so I continued with my newfound and fledgling Russian. Megan, how can you be sure she's a spy? Megan yelled in frustration. Jens, what the hell was that? When did you learn Russian? I laughed, but this time answered in pig Latin. Megan went on to detail why she thought the female dog was a spy. When she was done, she had me convinced, but now I had a bigger problem. How could I fight against a spy? I thought very hard, but finally came up with a great idea. Flashback, Glenn. Son of a bitch. I got another damn call from the Russian embassy about the damn major. I guess this time he got in a fight with some Russian police officers. The ambassador wanted to know what he should do. I wanted to tell him as far as I was concerned the scumsucker could rot in the damn prison. But then I came up with a better idea. Flashback, Mira, Ira, and Safia, in Israel. We made not so haste of post-departure with the evil man lodged in the cart of ass. However, it was sufficiently hasty that the crowd did not follow and attempt to rescue. Now we had a different problem. The ass had become belligerent and refused to locomotivate. I suggested, Safia, flagellate your ass. Safia complained, This is not my ass. But she whipped the ass anyway. The primary effect was that Safia's ass began its annoying braying. My sister Irinka stated, "This ass has become much too troublesome. However, I will motivate this ass's derriere." Ira applied her gun of stun to the ass's derriere and foolishly activated the device. To say Ira's ass was motivated was mildly put. The ass accelerated as if its hindquarter was aflame, and its motivation was accompanied by noxious fumes emanated from the ass's alimentary orifice. I held on for life of dear to the ass's neck and remarked, "Ira, you certainly motivated your ass." Ira complained, "Mira, first you described the beast as Safia's ass, but now you claim it is my ass. Why must you be so fickle?" I replied logically, "I have applied the pitch infant, tar baby, principle. You last motivated the creature, so it follows that it is now your ass." Irinka complained, "Mira, if this is my butt, then you may osculate my ass." I informed her, "Your ass is much too old and odoriferous for proper osculation." Safia once again giggled at our verbal exchange. Present, Jens, traveling back to the cabin. "I can't believe it. We steal the cab, exit at Leadville, then the damn cab dies." I strong-arm it to the side of the road, put on the parking brake, go to open the door to see what the hell is wrong, and the damn driver's door is locked and won't open. I ask the girls, "See if your door's open." I hear them fumbling in the back seat, then Zarika replies, "My door will not open." Yasmin helpfully answers, "My door is also locked." Ms. Donaldson, "This reminds me of a television show I used to watch called Bait Car. The police would leave a car like it was abandoned, then when the thieves took it they would bobulate. Evil. Damn, what is that word, Zarika?" Zarika adds, "Disable the car and lock the doors." I agree, Ms. Donaldson. I think this car has become a trap. I look up and notice the damn symbol on the rearview mirror and silently swear, I don't want to set a bad example for the girls. Wait, now this is funny as hell. Then I say, I agree. I bet the cabbie called his company and they disabled the cab and locked us in. However, unless this cab has bulletproof windows, we're getting out of here. I pull out my pistol. Hell yes, I have a pistol with me after all that's been going on. Aim at the side window. Fire. It explodes into tiny little squares and damn, near makes me deaf. I barely hear Yasmin as she asks, "Miss Donaldson, might I borrow your gat to do the same?" I almost giggle. Yeah, Yasmin still has some gangsta in her. I hand her my pistol and admonish, "Be careful, don't hurt yourself, and make sure to cover your ears." She fires through the backside glass at what's probably the worst possible time. Present, Alexei, heading to the cabin on foot. I am silently self-flagellating for all the mistakes I have precipitated on my sister Mira. First, the ill-timed use of the 40mm grenade to terminate the Ursus Arctos horribilis, which made her lose Ben's progeny. Then my second major mistake, trying to breach Ms. Donaldson's compound gate with the ambulance using a trick that worked in Grand Theft Auto, which instead rendered the vehicle inoperable and required our locomotivation by foot. We begin to locomotivate toward the cabin and Mira advises, "Alexei, I cannot tolerate this minuscule velocity." She attempts to run, but then she stumbles. I catch her and slowly lower her to the ground. I question, "Mira, are you not well?" She holds the lower portion of her anterior abdomen and states, "Perhaps it was not advisable to run." I question, "How might I render aid my sister?" Her answer greatly surprises me. "Alexei, please inform me you have a weapon concealed on your corporeal self?" I reply, "Sorry, my sister. I did not think to acquire one before I gained entrance into the helicopter. Please confirm you are not considering suicide?" Mira smiles and replies, "No, Alexei. Suicide is never an option for us. Do you not sense what I sense?" I calm myself and realize I have committed two additional transgressions. First, a lack of a weapon, and the second, not sensing we are being studied by unfriendly ocular units. I scan the area, note an anomaly, and inquire, "My sister, do you notice that slightly raised, disturbed portion of firmament?" Mira praises me, "Alexei, yes, I do oculate a disturbance in the firmament." I help my sister, and we slowly approach the disturbance. However, I cannot terminate the formication given me by the unfriendly ocular units. Something wicked is observing us. Present, Todd, battleground cabin. Ira is right to suggest that I take the mission to intercept the threat posed by the destroyed ambulance. She only has her katana while I have my bow and many arrows. I work my way toward the front door, encounter a passageway door, attempt to open it, but it is locked. I enter my code into the keypad by the door, and the klaxon begins to sound again. Present, Jack, battleground cabin. Son of a bitch. I thought Ira fixed that damn alarm. I order, "Ira, can't you shut that damn alarm off?" She accesses the panel many times and reports, "General sir, it would appear the alarm system is non-functional or at least does not respond to my code. Perhaps you will attempt it with your code?" I walk over to the damn panel, punch in my code and screw. The panel goes dark and the lights shut off. I've had my fill of this alarm system, so I back up and beat the shit out of it with the shovel. It feels great as smoke boils out of the scumsucker until Ira complains, and then things get even worse. Present, Ira, battleground cabin. General Payne makes a very ill-advised choice to terminate the terminal, and now we will recompense the flautist. I scold his brash behavior, sir. Perhaps you lack the information that the security system is interactive. Now that you have terminated a terminal, it will assume we are a direct threat and will attempt to terminate the threat. He complains, what the hell? Are you telling me this security system is going to kill us? My tympanic units detect a sight hiss, and I inform him, sir. The assaulted security system is releasing an airborne agent into the house. He yells in frustration, what the hell? Ira, we need to do something. I order, sir. Please transfer your M25 weapon temporarily to my corporeal self so I can attempt to breach the door. He states, what good will that do? I am out of ammunition. I then deliver a rendition of the obvious. Sir, in that eventuality, we are possibly located up an excrement rivulet without a skull. However, after surviving the ruthless Ratu's horde, I will not concede a defeat to a haunted house. I locate the ventilation shaft, acquire some material, and attempt a blockage of the gas. Present, Todd, battleground cabin. Something very bad has happened to the security system since all the terminals are blank. I hear the gas entering the ventilation system, but the stench from the rats is such that I cannot smell what gas is being used. However, I realize for some reason the entire house has become a threatening combatant. I reach into my pack, pull out my emergency oxygen supply, apply the nose clip, insert the mouthpiece in my mouth, and activate the timer on my watch. I walk over to the terminal and attempt to operate it, but it is non-responsive. There must be some way to shock this security system back into awareness. Wait, that gives me an idea. Present, Ben, Austin, Texas. Thank God the construction chute starts to flatten out. My back presses against the bottom of the chute. I put my feet against the top of the chute, press upward, and we finally stop. The damn little dog begins to bark, and then I hear one of the fat cows. I think the scumsucker jumped in here. Do you think we should follow him? I tell the dog, stay here while I take care of this bullshit. I crawl up the chute until it turns vertical, pull out my K-bar, and slice through most of the chute. I go to slide back down and find the damn little dog followed me, so I yell, get the hell out of the way. Then I hear from above, well, if he did it, we can do it. Another fat cow questions, do you think we will all fit? I answer her question in my mind. Not as fat as some of you are, you won't. The little dog takes off running, while I do my best to crawl down the tube as I hear a hell of a noise above me. It sounds like a whole damn herd of cows, which is what many of the women resembled, are in the construction chute at the same time. I'm almost back to where we stopped when, son of a bitch, the construction chute breaks where I cut it. I hear the herd of cows swearing up a storm, and about laugh my ass off when one of them whines, help. The chute must have gotten smaller because I'm stuck. I taunt, if you weren't such a fat cow, you wouldn't be stuck. The fat cows begin to swear, when we catch you we're going to kill you. I can't resist, so I taunt, what are you fat asses going to do? Sit on me. Then I realize there's a problem. Where the chute was once horizontal, is now sloped downward toward the fat cows because of the lack of support where it broke. I lose purchase on the chute and start sliding back down the chute toward the stuck women. I now regret the taunts and know if I slide into them, they just might sit on me. I still have my K-bar out, so I jam it into the chute and it stops my slide. I wedge my feet against the side of the chute, pull the K-bar out, reach up as high as I can and jam it in a new place. I finally reach the end of the chute and fall into the dumpster. The damn little dog is waiting there. The surviving herd of cows sees us, and they yell, there's insulting scumsucker. Let's fry his balls. The damn little dog takes off with me hot on her heels. We rush through the streets. She stops in front of a restaurant and begins to bark. I take a look at the name and laugh my ass off. Present, Stacy and Samantha, escaping from the vets. I really didn't want Samantha with me. What I really want is to be riding with Ben again. But even though she is a reporter, I sure as hell couldn't leave her with that scumsucker, horse-shooting, woman-beating husband of hers. His words and actions proved to me that I was damn lucky to have found Ben. Hell, there are no other men in the world like him, and I need to find him again, and this time I'm sure as hell not going to let him escape. Samantha pleads, Stacy, do you think we can rest a little? I look at her and explain, sorry, but we need to keep moving. Why don't you ride for a bit while I walk? She says, thanks, Stacy. You're sure different than I ever dreamed you would be. After what we did to you, I'm surprised you don't hate me. We switched places as I explain. You really pissed me off when you tied me up. But I couldn't leave you with that sorry excuse of a husband of yours, especially not after he threatened to beat both of us. However, I'd better get my golden rifle and pistols back, or I will remember how mad I am and kick your ass. Stacy seems fixated on her guns, so I question, I bet Ben gave those guns to you. She replies, he did, and that's why they are so important to me. Besides, right now, all we have is a pistol, and they are only good for fighting your way back to where you left your rifle. I add an observation. Well, the most sad guys really prefer their pistols. Stacy laughs. Oh yeah, they were right like how many times? Oh, let me see, I remember. Nevarrrr. I'm a little insulted, so I demand, what the hell do you mean? She laughs. Hell, Sam, you guys almost caught us how many times? Like about 1,000,000, but we were one step ahead of you all the time? You missed us at Bob's country bunker, and I bet you were pissed as hell when I torched your news van at the bunker? Ah, so they were at Bob's country bunker. That lying scumsucker Bob, if I ever meet him again, he's going to get the interview of his life. And she was the one that destroyed the first news van. I thought it was Ben. If I play my cards right, I can have a hell of a report on her and her time with Ben, so I continue. Did Ben teach you the saying about pistols? She confirms it. Yes, Sam. He did, and I sure as hell know what you're doing. Now, I was nice enough to let you tag along, but if you keep it up, I'm going to cut you loose. I figure I can get one more answer out of her, so I press a little more. Stacy, what exactly are your plans? She states, that's for me to know and for you to shut the hell up. I decide not to push any more, not for right now. Present, Byron, Tom, and Inga, reconnaissance, otherwise known as terrestrial foreplay for successful ground warfare. Yes, it is time for this bullshit to end, and I have a good as hell idea how to end it. Luck was with me, as this roof overlooks the damn narcotic lord's operation, but is a hell of a distance away. Now I sure as hell need more firepower than this pissant rifle. These mouse guns run out of pop at about 600 meters. I run back down to the car where Tom sees me, rolls down the window, and complains, Byron, what the hell are you doing? I order, Tom, shut the hell up. Inga, if you can't keep him quiet, then knock his ass out. I open the trunk, grab Betsy, all my ammo for her, and hightail it back to the roof. I set up, carefully placing all my extra mags within reach. I take a bit of time with my laser range finder getting some known distances, spend a few minutes reading the wind, make some adjustments on the scope, then it's time to rock and roll. I snug her up against my shoulder, touch off my first round, and laugh like hell. That was like throwing a rock through a hornet's nest. Yet Betsy's armor-piercing, explosive, incendiary 50 caliber round punches a hole right through the damn wall and sets something on fire. Bad guys boil out the building, and it's time to have some real fun. It's amazing what one of those rounds does to a human body, even at this distance. It's not long until the damn scumsuckers don't dare show themselves, so I begin to put rounds into the buildings, hoping to hit something that is flammable. Now this is real fun, and what I should have done in the first place. Hell, running around with that damn fly swatter rifle was a waste of time. Damn it, I recognize that sound. That crazy fool Byron must be up on the roof firing that damn Barrett 50 caliber shoulder cannon at the narcotic lord's compound. Inga finishes working on my ass, so I state, I'm going up on the roof to see what the hell Byron is doing. The damn fool is going to get us all killed. Inga complains, Byron ordered that I was to knock you out if you didn't obey him. I give her a dirty look and start, you just try it. I wake up sometime later, we're all in another car, Byron's driving, and I ask, what the hell happened? Byron laughs, Inga clocked you like she was ordered to do. I'm pissed and complain, what the hell? It must have been a lucky punch. So what's going on with the damn narcotic lord? Byron laughs some more. He seems to have some issues with building fires and is too busy putting them out to bother us. I wonder, what about our primary mission, capturing Megan? Byron states, who the hell cares about her? I hope to hell she burn up with some of the buildings. I state, okay, but you're the one that's going to deal with a pissed off Jennifer. Byron laughs. Hell, if she gives me too much trouble, I will put her over my knee. I keep my thoughts to myself, but I know Jennifer doesn't go for that sort of stuff, so she'd probably kick his ass. After a little thought, I decide I'd pay to watch that. Present, Maria, recovering from the accident. Son of a bitch. I'm going to kill his ass twice, I'm so pissed off. He continues taunting me. Yeah, I can't wait to tap that ass of yours. You're going to be screaming for mercy, and I'm not going to give you any. I think to myself, keep it up, scumsucker, now that I've flanked the hell out of you. I head toward him as he continues. Yeah, bitch, you're going to wish you never made me wreck the car when I'm done with you. I sneak up on him, but when I see him, I'm totally disgusted with what I observe. Hell, killing this scumsucker would be a kindness. I rush forward, surprise him, kick his ass, and take his pistol. Then I decide to take his clothes so he can't pull this bullshit on anyone else. I pull out my mobile phone and make a call. Present, Linus, Matt, and Jim, headed to Dallas. We're trying to figure out a way to save one of the vehicles before the truckers shoot all of them to hell. When my damn phone rings, the truckers make our location and begin firing at us. We duck and run like crazy, but the rounds keep getting closer as my phone continues to ring. Flashback, Ben, sometime in the past. I had warmed myself, but still hadn't found shelter from the weather. So I trudged further into the Colorado wilderness until I came upon my friend the fox that I'd met many times before. She recognized me and continued to hunt. It was fascinating watching her. She pounced to catch something but came up empty. I watched again. She changed direction, pounced, and this time it was success. She came up with a rabbit that had been under the snow, probably in a snow tunnel. She trotted toward me with the rabbit, came closer than she normally did, and put the rabbit down. I figured that she was offering it to me. I walked toward her. She backed up. I took the rabbit and said, "Thank you for dinner, but what are you going to eat?" She went back over and continued to hunt. Once again she missed on her first try, then changed direction and had success. I noticed that both times she succeeded, she faced the same direction. Strange. How would the direction she faced affect her rate of success? I watched her some more when she headed away, paused, looked back at me, then moved a little further and did the same thing. I decided she wanted me to follow her somewhere, so I did. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. After my wardrobe adjustment, I felt much better. I exited the bathroom, walked into Ben's room, and found it was empty. I walked to the nursing station and inquired, "I am Ben Blaine's private nurse. Where did they take him?" The nurse at the desk delivered a contemptuous glare and snapped, "If you are his private nurse, shouldn't you know where he is and be with him? Or perhaps you are too busy having sex with other patients." I perceived immediately she was Ben's previous nurse and was upset because I had been assigned as his permanent nurse. Well, if she wanted to be bitchy, then I could be bitchy too. I replied, "I suggest you pay meticulous attention to my orders, you jealous bitch. Tell me where Ben has been taken before I commence to render your miserable existence intolerable." Masha arrived with Jack before she could answer. It was obvious Masha was quite upset about something. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. Damn, we must have set some sort of record getting to the hospital, but I wondered what repercussions Masha kicking the major's ass would cause. As soon as we got up to Ben's room, I forgot all about that. Tatiana was standing outside the room at the nurse's desk, and unless I was reading the body language wrong, she and Nurse Ratchet at the desk were in some sort of confrontation. I decided I should apply a little of the old Jack Reynolds charm and calm the situation. I asked the crabby Nurse Ratchet, "I assume Ben has been taken somewhere. Can you tell me where he is?" I couldn't understand the words of her response, but I could sure understand the go to hell and do not pass go tone of her answer. Whatever she said pissed Masha off, so I wisely stepped back because I didn't want to be in the middle of this fight. Flashback, Masha, at the hospital. Had everyone dispensed with their manners today? It was obvious Tatiana and the floor nurse were in the midst of a confrontation. Jack asked very nicely. Yes, I know he flirted a little, but I wasn't worried. Where Ben was, and the floor nurse told him he had no need to know and should wait in Ben's room. However, she used some of the most vulgar terms available to her limited mind. Once again, I needed to protect my man, so I walked up to get in her face when Tatiana declared, "Masha, this is my battle." I wanted to evaluate how one of my protégés operated, so I stepped back and was shocked at what Tatiana did next. It was masterful. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. This bitch didn't know who she was dealing with. She insulted Jack. The stupid village nurse did not know how dangerous it was to humiliate Jack because it infuriated Masha, and now I determined the proper method to handle this. She grinned at me like the stupid village idiot she was, so I simply withdrew my cell phone and placed a call. The party answered. I apprised them of the situation, then handed the phone to the blissfully ignorant bitch. It was enjoyable watching her squirm and crimson in multiple shades. She meekly returned the phone to me and sweetly told me of Ben's location. I looked at Masha and Jack and explained in English, "Ben is having another MRI. If you two wait in his room, I will return him when he is finished." Masha questioned, "Tatiana, who did you call?" I smiled and replied, "The hospital administrator, of course." I could tell from the look in her eyes she was impressed, and she stated, "That was a very wise decision. By the way, it is good to see you have your underwear back under your control." Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. Damn, I needed to learn Russian. Masha said something to Tatiana, and Tatiana blushed worse than Nurse Ratchet. Masha took my hand. We headed to Ben's room, but I just had to know. "Masha, what did you say to Tatiana?" Masha laughed and teased. "Jack, my love, some things are only for the benefit of other women." I recognized the bullshit and made a vow to study Russian, and my Russian, even harder. Flashback, Masha, at the hospital. I took Jack into Ben's room and could tell he wanted to know what I said to Tatiana that made her blush. Jack was a very observant man, and I was happy he didn't notice that Tatiana had no panties on when she met President Putin and that now she had them on. I could only assume she lost them in her liaison with Ben. Yes, I was happy my Jack didn't notice because that meant his eyes were not focused on her derriere, unlike most other men. I decided he required a reward for good behavior, and in addition, after kicking his major's rear, I needed a release, so I kept contact with his hand and enticed him to the bathroom. Flashback, Glenn. Yes, Now I was going to fix that damn major. I made a phone call, rousted the colonel out of bed, and ordered, "Colonel, pack your bags. You are heading to Moscow, Russia, to take care of a situation that's occurred with one of our majors." She asked, "Don't tell me. It's Major M." I fought back a chuckle and taunted, "You're right. But isn't he your favorite?" I could almost hear the swearing on the other end of the line, but like a true professional she replied, "Yes, sir." "Am I to assume this is concerning the medal presented to Sergeant Blaine?" I answered, "Yes, it is. And so you are aware, I hated to say it, Sergeant Blaine is a very valuable asset to the Corps right now, and until that changes we need to do whatever we can to keep him in the Corps." She asked, "What about Sergeant Reynolds?" I thought briefly and replied, "If you keep him happy, then Sergeant Blaine will also be happy." The old biddy cackled, "I assume the Seknav's call had something to do with the change in your feelings." "Damn, couldn't anyone keep a secret?" I replied, "That's right. So handle both of them with kid gloves." She questioned, "What about the damn major?" I replied, "Hell, do whatever you have to, but keep him out of trouble. He spent more time in the damn prison over there than on his mission, and he messed up the chance to turn the award into a photo op." She laughed. "Well, this might end up better than I thought. I will leave as soon as I can get a flight." Yes, the major would hate the day he screwed with me. Hell was coming his way, and she was riding her broom. Flashback. Jens. Well, if that Russian female dog that was in love with my Ben was a spy, then I needed to fight fire with fire. I rushed to my bookcase and pulled out one of the best spy manuals ever written, Mad Magazine, and began to study the comic Spy versus Spy. I was, of course, the good white spy, while the Russian female dog was the nasty, evil spy. Yes, I was going to fix her little red wagon. Flashback. Major M. The Russian police took me back to the same damn place Sergeant Reynolds had just gotten me released from. I noticed Vika was still in one of the other cells, so I waved and tried to get her attention, but she totally ignored me. I had just settled in when an official came in and Vika was released. I demanded, "Hey, what about me?" The man stated, "They are sending someone from United States. When they arrive, you will be released into their custody." I loudly complained, "So I have to stay here overnight?" "Come on, Vika, I thought we were friends." Vika coldly reminded me, "Major, you need to address me by my formal name because we are no longer friends. I could not believe you exited with your sergeant and left me in here. Now you will experience how abandonment feels." I tried to complain, but they had already left. Then I wondered who the hell the old man was sending and how much of a repeater they would be. Flashback. Ben. Sometime in the past. I followed the fox deeper into the woods while we both carried our rabbits. I used the body heat from mine to keep my hands warm. She finally led me to the opening of a cave, but she was nervous about the cave and wouldn't go in. I had never seen this cave before, and I had been throughout these woods. I crept close to the cave, and I knew immediately why she was nervous. There was a hibernating bear inside the cave. I backed away, but she circled the opening of the cave and made this mournful half-bark crying sound. She dropped her rabbit, dashed into the cave, and I couldn't believe what she was carrying when she came out. Now I understood what she wanted me to do. I started to feel the anger rise in me. Flashback. Ira, Mira, and Safia, in Israel. Sometimes Mira infuriated me. Imagine using the pitch infant principle to assign the ownership of this vexatious, vapid, vile ass. I cognate a means by which to twist the table and declared, "Your overt concern over the ownership of said ass is greater than either mine or Safia's, so henceforth we transfer ownership of the ass to you." Safia giggled and Mira prepared her back of cum when once again the ass providing locomotion for the cart was raised off the ground. I glanced over my shoulder and quickly determined the fat, evil man had awakened and crawled to the posterior of the cart of ass. Unfortunately for us, but even more unfortunate for Myra's ass, the evil man tumbled to the ground. And the reckless action immediately caused Myra's ass to crash to the ground, which turned and rendered Myra's ass slightly inoperable and removed our derrieres from the ass and abruptly delivered them to the ground. Safia yelled a warning. The evil man is escaping. My sister Ira's ass is slightly broken and her pride, derriere, is bruised while the evil man is trying to escape. We quickly arise to give pursuit, but what I viewed caused great mirth. I giggled helplessly and could not mount a pursuit. Thankfully, the evil man's girth was so great, he could not run faster than the pace of snail. Ira looked at me and questioned, "Mira, what is so mirthful?" I replied between giggles, "He resembles the giant Stay-Puft Marshmallow Man from the movie Busters of Ghosts." Ira joined in my mirth while Safia ran up and complained, "The man is escaping, and you are doing nothing." We both stood up and slowly locomotivated after the evil Stay-Puft Man, while Safia verbally entreated us, "Faster, or he will escape." We easily apprehended the errant Stay-Puft Man. Because he was so tired, he did not attempt to fight, but instead shuffled back to the cart of ass. Our arrival at the Cardivas overwhelmed us with sadness. Ira declared, "Mira, your ass is permanently broken, so you must terminate it." Mira complained, "No, Ira. It's your ass which is defective, therefore you need to perform the termination." Safia questioned, "I do not care whose ass it is. How will we transport the fat, evil man without our cart?" Mira grinned, looked at me, and stated, "Present, Jens, traveling back to the cabin. Well, I stole the taxi. The taxi company disabled it and locked the doors. Damn roadside assistance. That is really just another way to spy on you." I had just shot out my side window, and Yasmin shoots out her side window at the worst possible time, just as a sheriff deputy drives up. The bullet goes through the side window of the taxi and through the side window of the deputy's car. He flies out of his car, crouches behind it, and yells, "Throw down your weapon and hold up your hands." Yasmin is almost frantic and apologizes, "Sorry, Ms. Donaldson. It was an accident, and I do not want to be picked up by the fuzz." I fight back laughter at her comment, but ask, "Zarika, are you fit enough to run?" Zarika answers, "Yes, Ms. Donaldson. My arm is stable enough to run." So I order, "Shoot out the opposite side window." That will cause the deputy to duck behind his car for safety. When he does that, we're taking off. Yasmin does as instructed, the deputy ducks, we bail out of the car and take off running. I pull out my phone. There are more crazy messages on it from the security system, and try again to call Liz, but I still don't get an answer. I try Jack, and I don't get an answer there either. I hope the girls are in good shape because we have a long-ass run ahead of us. Present, Alexei, heading to the cabin on foot. My sister Mira and I approach the disturbance in the firmament, and the formication precipitated by the unfriendly ocular units has not abated. In fact, it has increased in intensity. I ease my injured sister to the ground, and she cautions, "Alexei, use utmost caution as this could be an improvised explosive device." I sense that time is of the essence, so I ignore my sister's admonition and leap right on top of the disturbance. My sister Mira yells, and I receive a surprise. The ground gives way slightly beneath my feet, so with haste I reach down and begin to remove the firmament and uncover the end of a large plastic cylindrical pod. As the threatening formication increases, I remove the earth around the end of the pod, try to lift the end of the pod, but it will not move. Mira maneuvers adjacent to the plastic cylinder, examines it, and states, "Alexei, the luck of lady follows us. This is one of my future husband Ben Blaine's weapon storage caches. My studies of him revealed he prepared many caches like this on his property." As the formication continues to grow, I question, "My sister, how do we gain access to the weapons within?" Her phalangeal units deftly touch the container. Then she looks at me, smiles, and states, "Present, Mira, heading to the cabin on foot." The beast which is stalking us has gained courage and is approaching closer. I rely on the greatly increased intensity of my formication to gauge the relative distance. It is apropos that Alexei oculated the weapons cache of my bin, so now if we can determine how to access the cache, we might have a chance to combat the stalking beast. We are hindered because the only light is from a mostly full moon, so I use my phalangeal extremities and finally feel a release mechanism on this cache. I smile at Alexei and state, "The release mechanism for this cache is located under my phalangeal units." I operate the catch, and the cache allows our access as we hear a slight growl and hiss from behind us. Alexei's and my phalangeal units quickly reach inside the cache and, "Present, Todd, cabin death trap." We are like rats in a trap, and the trap is the house. Wait, that is a sinister metaphor for this situation. I take the flashlight out of my tactical vest, walk over to the terminal, remove my tools from my pack, and attempt to pry off the bezel without success. I have a plan, but it relies on gaining access to the inner workings of this security system, and I have limited time. My backup oxygen only lasts 5 minutes. No, make that 4 minutes now. I knock on the wall adjacent to the terminal, and as I assumed, it is hardened concrete. Jennifer knew what she was doing when she had the system installed. However, I don't think she planned for this scenario. I think the only weak point has to be the display, unless she had bulletproof displays installed. I'm thankful I saved some pistol rounds for this contingency. I draw my pistol and fire at the center of the display. It shatters, and then something very bad happens. Present, Jack and Ira, cabin death trap. Ira is doing a hell of a job blocking the air vent, and thank God, because I'm a little lightheaded already. Then the damn horn begins to blare again. I've had my fill of this damn security system and this house death trap. Since this house is already pissed at us, I figure I can't make things any worse. So I take the shovel and begin to beat the hell out of the terminal and yell, "Take that, you computerized piece of shit." Yeah, it's payback time for every computer that's given me problems in the past, and that's a huge number of them. I finally hit something really good and sparks fly like crazy. General Payne is suffering under the influence of the gas, and has become aggressive. I am thankful it is focused upon the terminal and not my corporeal self. If that was the case, I would be forced to slightly injure him to ensure my safety. He displays extraordinary strength as he flails the terminal into submission. Then the most curious thing happens. A large amount of electrical discharge exits the terminal. This event should not have transpired. Then something even more amazing occurs. Present, Alexei, heading to the cabin on foot. My sister Myra's and my phalangeal units fight to find the weapons within this weapons pod, and we unfortunately acquire the same device. There is a slight growl and hiss behind us, so I release the weapon and turn to face the stalking beast. Even with the limited illumination, I oculate a large puma concolor which is intent on attacking. I remember my studies and attempt to make myself larger by waving my phalangeal units away from my body and vocalizing at the bestial feline. However, my studies again prove to be inadequate in this situation. The puma concolor begins to yowl and slink toward me. I must protect my infirm sister Mira, so I charge the beast. My unexpected action initially works, however. Present, Mira, heading to the cabin on foot. Alexei performs the most brave and foolish act of his short life. If I cannot with utmost haste acquire and load this weapon, his life will be further shortened. He is using his corporeal self as a human distraction and foolishly charges the puma concolor, which action temporarily startles the beast. The weapon and magazine are now within my phalangeal units, so I begin the sports, acronym for slap, pull, observe, release, tap, and shoot all the steps to make sure a semi or fully auto weapon is ready for battle. Of the weapon, just as. Present, Todd, cabin death trap. I gain access to the control circuits of the security system by shooting out the display, however, that triggers the klaxon again. I immediately realize this security system has a self-preservation feature which has been triggered and which I just triggered again. There are always weaknesses in every system, so I just need to find the one in this system. I find the circuitry behind the system and realize which system it is, and unless I can disable it, then it will disable us. I take my stun gun out of my pack, hold it close to the circuitry, and hold down the trigger. I play the sparks across the circuit boards and integrated circuits, and thank God it works. The gas stops, and I hear the lock on the door deactivate. Present, Ira and Jack, cabin death trap. I alert Jack. I am not sure what you did, but it appears the security system is currently offline. He crows like a rooster. Yeah, I guess I showed that damn piece of shit who was boss. I was not certain of that, but I knew not to look a gift equine in the mandibles. I jump down from the chair, grab the general's phalangeal unit, and state, "Sir, we must depart this domicile haste of post." Damn, I showed that computer who was boss. It felt good as hell beating the shit out of it. Ira wants to leave the house. However, I have a responsibility to Masha and Ivan in the tunnels. She grabs my hand, and I explain to her, "Ira, you can leave if you want, but I'm going to the tunnels to see if Masha and Ivan are okay." Ira states, "Then I will accompany you. Otherwise it would appear as cowardice." We head towards the basement, and I worry like hell at what we will find. Present, Alexei, heading to the cabin on foot. I charge the large puma concolor which temporarily shocks it. Then it regains its composure and charges me. I know that when it is close enough it will attempt to leap and use its mass to knock me to the ground. Therefore, I will need to dodge this frontal attack and hope to grab the beast by the segmented backbone extension of its spinal column. We draw closer and closer, and I observe the puma concolor tense its muscles, and then it leaps. I react in time so that the puma concolor passes over the top of me. I reach up with both hands and grasp its segmented backbone spinal extension. A malignant roar emanates from the puma concolor as I hold on and pull with all my strength. Present, Mira, heading to the cabin on foot. I am impressed with Alexei's action dodging the puma concolor's frontal attack and having the wherewithal to obtain a purchase on its segmented backbone extension. Now it is my turn to enter the fight. I raise the weapon to my shoulder, knowing that my Ben must have this weapon sighted perfectly for 100 meters. Therefore, I aim about 2 inches low and release a 3-shot burst into the thoracic cavity of the puma concolor. While the puma concolor slows, it still tries to turn and reach Alexei. I take careful aim once more and release another 3-round burst. This time the puma collapses to the firmament. However, Alexei also collapses. I slip down the shallow grade on my derriere toward my only brother and begin to pray. Present, Todd, cabin death trap. I haul ass outside of the cabin just in time. I correctly assumed the high-voltage discharge from my stun gun would force the system to reboot. I just make it outside as the warning klaxon sounds again, warning that the system has reactivated. I hope Jack and Ira would join me outside the cabin, but since they're not here, I assume they have been incapacitated. I do have a mission to complete and make a few quick checks. I prepare my bow and slip toward the main gate. Present, Jack and Ira, cabin death trap. We reach the tunnels in the basement. I start to unlock the door when the damn horn goes off again. I get ready to beat the shit out of the terminal on the wall when Ira cautions, "General, sir? That would be very ill-advised." She takes my place at the terminal, enters her code, and the damn horn shuts off. She then checks the system and declares, "It appears something forced a reinitialization of the security system, and it is now performing optimally." I brag, "Yeah, that something was me beating the shit out of it. Now let's get the hell into the tunnels." We prepare to fight. I enter my code. The door opens up and I can't believe it. Present, Ben, Austin, Texas. Thank God we outran the herd of fat cows. The damn little dog stops in front of a Chinese restaurant where they have one of those golden good luck cats in the window. You know, the one where the right paw moves up and down. The little dog's head rocks in time with the cat. The whole scenario is cute, but I'm laughing my ass off because the name of the restaurant is Fuck Hui. The door flies open. The little dog cowers behind me, and a Chinese man runs out with a raised broom. I aim my rifle at him and warn, "Hold it right there, Hop Sing. If you're thinking of hurting this dog, you will have to go through me first." He says in broken English, "Dog bother us all time. She sit here and watch cat." I question, what is the bother if she is sitting here watching that damn cat? The man replies, "People think we use dog in food instead of chicken." I taunt, "I thought Chinese restaurants used cats instead of chicken." He spouts a bunch of Chinese. From the tone, I'm sure he is swearing at me. Then he says something I do understand. "I kick you ass for bother me too." I grin at him and say, "I'm your huckleberry." He says, "You take off weapons first." I keep my eyes on him as I slip off my tactical vest, set my rifle on it, stand back up, motion to him and taunt, "Come on, you cat-eating scumsucker." Again the little dog barks, but it sounds like laughter. The Chinese man is pissed and heads toward me using Wing Chun, Chinese martial art style, made famous by Bruce Lee. Every martial art has its weakness, and Wing Chun was designed for very close-quarter combat. To stall, all I needed to do was force him to keep his distance from me. I begin my capoeira dance, so he laughs and taunts, "That not martial art. That ballet." I stop his laughter when I kick the shit out of him. He flies backwards and crashes through the window. Then things get really interesting as 4 of his buddies come flying out of the restaurant. They begin what sounds like swearing in Chinese. Then I hear the herd of fat cow women yell behind me, "There's that scumsucker, and he brought friends." I look at the little dog and declare, "It's time to get the hell out of Dodge." I grab my gear, jump through the broken window, grab the good luck cat as I pass, yanking the cord out of the wall. The first scumsucker starts to get up, so I punch the shit out of him and yell, with a pretend Chinese accent, "I screw Hui up real good." I do. The little dog barks her approval as we head through the back of the restaurant, and I damn near puke when I see a couple of dead cats hung up. Damn, I guess sometimes they really do use cat to replace chicken. Present, Stacy and Samantha, escaping from the vets. We've gone as far as we can for the night because it's starting to get dark and I need to check Bo's wound and make sure it's not bleeding. I order, "Okay, Sam, we're stopping for the night." She replies, "Thank God. I don't know how you can ride like that. My ass feels like it's on fire." I giggle. "Yeah, that's the same way mine felt the first day Ben and I had the horses." "Don't worry, it will be worse tomorrow." Sam complains, "Worse than this?" "I don't think it could be any worse." I begin checking Bo's wound and answer, "Well, if you think that was bad, try riding after some scumsucker has assaulted the hell out of you." She provides the question which floods me with sad memories. "You mean the man that the gorilla killed, right?" I change the dressing on Bo, making sure to apply some antibiotic, and state, "Yeah, that wonderful George the gorilla who you scumsuckers killed. Now leave me the hell alone for the rest of the night." Yeah, I'm pissed as hell at Stacy, and I just might dump her ass here in the morning. Why did I ever hit a sore spot with Stacy? I never knew she was so upset about the guys killing the rampaging gorilla. I'm hungry, so I bother her anyway. "Stacy, I hate to bother you, but what are we having for dinner?" She barks, "MREs. Why don't you get 2 out of Patch's pack and heat them up?" I rummage around in Patch's pack, but finally have to ask, "What does an MRE look like?" Stacy sighs and comments, "Damn, don't you know anything? They are brown-colored bags." I find the bags and ask another question. "Okay, I have the bag. Do you have something to start a fire with?" Stacy grumbles, "You don't need a damn fire with MREs. Find 2 of the brown boxes. Those are the heaters." "Oh, forget it. Come over here and finish curry combing Bo while I do fix our meals." I take Stacy's place, begin to brush Bo. Bo quickly turns his head and tries to bite me. I jump back and complain, "Bo tried to bite me." Stacy says, "Let me see you comb him." I begin to brush him. He makes a grunting noise and snaps at me again. But not as bad as Stacy snaps. "Sam, are you totally worthless? Of course he's going to bite you if you curry comb him against the grain of his hair." I begin to cry. Stacy comes over, puts her arm around my shoulder, and says, "Damn, Samantha really doesn't know shit. so I laid into her. She starts crying and I feel bad because I remember all the mistakes I made with Ben and how patient he was with me. I walk over and apologize. Sam, I'm sorry for being a bitch. I just miss Ben and I'm worried about Bo. Please forgive me. She replies, Stacy, I'm sorry too. It's just that I'm young and I've never done half the things you have done. I can remember reading about the trips you took with your grandmother and always wished I could be like you. And now I've failed in everything. I'm shocked because I never thought anyone would want to be like me. She sobs a little. I hold her hand and say, well, let's teach you what you don't know. See, now this is how you curry comb a horse. Remember, a horse will tell you how they feel if you just watch them. See his ears? That means he's in a good mood. Now watch this. I'm glad that Stacy is giving me a second chance. I watch her comb Bo, then she combs him the direction I was combing him. His ears go down. He turns his head, and I begin to giggle. I swear he glared at her like what the hell she was doing. I take the brush and begin to comb Bo the same way as Stacy, and Bo's ears go back to their normal position. Stacy praises, you're doing a good job, Sam. Now I need to finish getting the camp ready for tonight. I continue to comb Bo and watch Stacy. She is an amazing woman. Present, Byron, Tom, and Inga, reconnaissance, otherwise known as terrestrial foreplay for successful ground warfare. We get back to the docks without further issues, grab all the gear, load up the dinghy, and make it back to the sailboat. We are almost there, but I don't like the look of something, so I crank the dinghy motor fully sideways, speed away from the boat, and Tom complains, Byron, what the hell is wrong now? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to answer that question. Not after. Present, Maria, recovering from the accident. Yeah, the pathetic scumsucker was going to assault me. No way in hell. I think I've seen bigger tools on a mouse. That's okay since I took his gun, all his clothes, and left him stark naked in the woods. If he was lucky, something will kill and eat him quickly. If he isn't, oh well, it's not like he was a gift to womankind. I try to call Linus to come and pick me up, but his phone rings, then the call stops. So, I call him again, and he answers. Present, Linus, Matt, and Jim, headed to Dallas. We're having our asses handed to us, and Maria is calling. I answer the phone. What the hell do you want? She yells back, well, screw you too. I thought you might like to know I was almost assaulted. And the phone goes dead. Present, Maria, recovering from the accident. Well, that was a fine hello. Screw him and screw all men. Just when you really need one, they. Oh man. I angrily walk back to the road. Present, Linus, Matt, and Jim, headed to Dallas. I feel like shit. We finally found a safe place where the scumsuckers can't shoot us, so I try to call Maria, but her phone just rings. Jim questions, so what did you do to piss her off? Matt explains, he answered her call and said, what the hell do you want? Jim clucks, damn, are you looking at getting your ass kicked by her? You need to damn apologize. Matt adds, no, this one is going to take more than an apology. Jim concurs, yeah. What do you figure, Matt, a dozen roses? Matt laughs, hell no. More like 2 dozen. I order, will you two shut up? Maria said something about almost being assaulted. Jim laughs, hell, after what she did to the Mossad scumsuckers, I'm sure she ripped the guy's balls off. I complain, come on guys, I'm serious as a heart attack. Matt states, Linus, you're the one that needs to open their eyes. There's no way in hell someone would ever be able to assault Maria. Jim's right, she'd rip their balls off. Jim interjects, and probably their tool. Matt continues, what she was looking for was some love from you. Jim chuckles, she sure as hell didn't need to hear, what the hell do you want? I look at the two of them and declare, screw both of you. I'm going to get us a vehicle, then we're going to go find her. I'm pissed as hell, and I don't care if the truckers are the good guys. They fired at us first, and I need to get a car to rescue Maria. But the guys did have one good idea that I just might use. I look at Jim and say, I guess we'd better help Linus. Jim answers, yeah, Matt. He might be a SEAL, but he's not recon. We both jump up and yell, "Ura!" Then something surprising as hell happens. Flashback, Ben, sometime in the past. I wake up and, where am I? It's dark, but I'm warm and there's something soft lying against me. I'm in the fox's den. She's lying against me keeping me warm, but where the hell is the bear? I begin to move and I didn't know I could be so sore and stiff. The fox gets up, goes outside. I follow her and about puke with what I see. Something beat the bear to heck and back. I swear all the bones in its body must be broken. It looks like a black bag of bear. I look down and realize I have blood all over me and my hands are a mess. What the heck happened? Could I have? No, I couldn't have. That was a bear, and I'm just a boy. I check and realize my Colt Frontier Scout revolver is missing. I search all over and finally see the grip of it sticking out of what is left of the bear's head. I walk over, pull it out of his mouth, check and find all 6 rounds had been fired. Well, the revolver almost looks worse than I do. The fox is giving me a funny look, so I put my hand down. She comes over and I pet her. Now that was a first. The first time she ever let me touch her. I say, well girl, I don't know what happened here, but I do know I have a revolver to clean, then I have to figure out some way to clean myself up. I smell like nasty bear. I decide the first thing I need to do is start a small fire at the mouth of the den. I worry I might scare away the fox, so I call her over as I start the fire. She doesn't seem afraid, so I figure we're fine. I take my cleaning kit out of my possibles bag and begin to clean all the bear blood off the revolver. There is bear blood in places that I didn't know the revolver had, so it takes me close to an hour. That made me wonder what time it is, so I look up at the sun and realize I must have slept a whole night and part of a day. I hate that when it happens. Before I clean up, I decide I have to do something about the beaten-to-death bear and the nasty, smelly den, so I begin to drag the bear away from the den. It's easier than I thought it would be because the snow acts like a sled and the bear is frozen. The fox follows me, and she begins to hunt. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. I made it to the MRI room, and one of the doctors questioned me. How long has he been unconscious? I checked my watch and answered, close to 30 minutes. The doctor remarked, this MRI is most unusual. It shows the brain activity of someone that's normally awake. He must be having a very vivid dream. That made me curious. What could Ben be dreaming about so vividly? I must ask him when he wakes. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. What a woman. Masha took me into the bathroom in Ben's room, and we had some on the best sex of my life, ever. Hell, it was so damn good, I was weak in the knees. I figure the afterglow might be a good time to bring up a possible problem, so I asked, Masha, I'm concerned that Major M is going to be pissed off that you kicked his ass. She lets loose a huge laugh and declared, Jack, my love, would you want the whole world to know if a woman beat you up like that? I think for a few moments. Then I grinned and answered, hell no, I wouldn't want anyone to know about it. Masha explained a bit more, Jack, should your stupid major give us any problems, I will make sure the video of what I did to him is placed on the internet. I was confused, so I asked, what video? She smiled and cleared it up, the video the FSB agents were taking of the whole situation. Did you not know we were being followed everywhere we went? Now it was my turn to be embarrassed. Hell, a recon not seeing the FSB agents. I justified it as being distracted by Masha, so I replied, I thought I had seen them. Flashback, Masha, at the hospital. Jack just lied to me. Oh, he is an excellent liar, but there are always subtle body expressions which reveal the lie. In this case, his eyes dilated somewhat, and he looked downward. I considered making an issue out of it, but decided it's better that he does not know that I can read his lies like a book. Besides, I am burdened by many more deceptions in this relationship than he is. We adjusted our clothes and returned to Ben's room to await his return. I did take a moment to observe Ben's bed, and as I suspected, he and Tatiana made love. Oh, if I wasn't in love with Jack, this would be the perfect opportunity to use Tatiana to extract the information that my country so desperately wanted from Ben. But with both of us being in love, there was no way I could force or even allow Tatiana to complete the mission that Miranda miserably failed. That reminded me, I should check in with the twins to ascertain what they were doing. I looked at Jack and questioned, Jack, I need to find a computer to check the status of my work. However, I do not want you to leave this room when I am gone. He volunteered. Well then, take me with you, and then you won't have to worry. I contemplated his suggestion and decided since his Russian was virtually non-existent, it was probably the best choice. I took his hand and said, come Jack, we must hurry. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. The MRI was finished, Ben was still unconscious, and I examined the results with the radiologist. He questioned, are you telling me this man has feeling in his legs? I didn't want to inform him of our sexual tryst, so instead I confirmed. He stood when President Putin delivered him the Hero of the Russian Federation medal. We did assist him, but he also had some control over his legs. The radiologist shook his head. This man needs emergency back surgery, or he will never walk again. This produced great concern, and I questioned, is Dr. Kyorov qualified to do this surgery? The radiologist scoffed. I would not let that drunken Duroc, fool, operate on a dead dog. No, this man deserves someone special. I asked, then who do you have in mind? He answers, Michael Voskoboynikov is the only man I would let operate on me. I said a quick prayer and asked, would you please contact him? After all, Ben is a Russian citizen and has the Hero of the Russian Federation medal. The radiologist laughed. Michael will do it for the challenge since medals don't mean anything to him. Take Sergeant Blaine back to his room and make sure he does not put any vertical weight on his back. I wanted to ask about horizontal weight because I greatly desired to have another coitus session with Ben, but I bit my tongue and answered, yes, doctor. I wheeled his gurney back to his room and received a surprise since Masha and Jack were missing. I went into the bathroom to freshen and apply my makeup, and the smell of coitus was strong in the air. Next time we met, Masha this time would crimson. However, I was still greatly concerned that Ben was still unconscious. Flashback, Masha, internet cafe. Jack and I practically ran to the internet cafe we used before. The proprietor recognized me and immediately asked everyone to leave. A couple of young teens became belligerent, then my Jack surprised me. He walked up to them and threatened, "Get the hell out of here before I put my boots so far up your ass you'll be using boot polish as your toothpaste." They turned many shades of white and left, even leaving their computers logged in to their social networking accounts. I was amazed when Jack sat down and began to mess with the computer, so I questioned, "Jack, my love, what are you doing?" He grinned at me and stated, "I'm signing these little scumsuckers up for every gay site on the internet. Since they want to screw with you, then they can pay the price." I took the opportunity with Jack being distracted to contact Miranda and Irina. It was most troubling that I did not have a communique from them. Flashback, Major M. Damn, this was not how I expected tonight to go. I planned that by now I would have called on the SGTS. Then Vika and I would have found a room and become horizontally acquainted. Instead, I'm in this damn holding cell with a bunch of other scumsuckers. One walks up to me, starts to give me shit, but I know what to do. I kick the hell out of his ass so the others will respect me. However, I guess Russian prisons don't work quite the same as American jails. The guards come in with the damn nightsticks and use me for a practice dummy. Once they're done, they haul me into an even worse cell, if there is such a thing, than I was in before. At least there's no homo pricks in here to give me shit. Flashback, Colonel Maggie. I couldn't wait to get to Russia and give Major M a bunch of shit. Why was I angry with him? I'll tell you. He thought he could use me to screw his way to becoming a general, and that was a major mistake. The worst part was, he wasn't even that good. No problem. I bided my time, and now his ass was mine. Flashback, Glenn. I felt damn good about the way I fixed things. Yeah, sending Colonel Maggie to take care of the Major was a stroke of genius since those two got along like oil and water. Rumor had it he screwed her literally and physically and then dumped her ass. And we all know hell hath no fury like that of a woman scorned. I logged onto the computer, looked at Jennifer's credit card account, and what the hell was this charge? Flashback, Jens. Darn it all. I forgot to change the transaction on my charge card from the flowers from my bin to a Russian language course, and I just received a message from the credit card company that Daddy logged into the account. Oh boy, was I ever in trouble. When I needed a world-class lie, there was only one friend to turn to. I called Megan on my Camo Princess phone. Flashback, Ben, sometime in the past. As I dragged the bag of bare bones away from the den, I watched the fox hunt. She jumped at something and missed. She turned again in the same direction as before, and I suddenly realized something. I fumbled in my possibles bag for my compass. Flashback, Mira, Ira, and Safia, in Israel. Yes, after the evil Stay Puffed Man broke Ira's ass, which rendered the card of ass inoperable, I came up with a diabolic plan. I postulated, since the evil Stay Puffed Man broke Ira's ass, I recommend we make him the ass. Ira giggles, Mira, it is your ass, and that is an evil plan. Safia questioned, how will we control which direction he pulls the ass card, and what are we going to do with the broken ass? I opine, we will attach the reins to the piercings in his lobes of his auditory canal. Ira giggles, Mira, what about your ass? I oculate the unfortunate damaged animal and have compassion in my heart, so I decide, Ira, we will load your ass into the back of the cart of ass. The evil man complained, I will not pull an ass cart. I looked at Ira and questioned, Ira, might you still possess your gun of stun? She giggled, yes, Mira. I assume you want to affix it to his derriere? Yes, my sister Mira has once again deciphered my diabolical plan. We first get the Stay Puffed Man to help us load Myra's disabled ass into the back of the cart of ass. Then we put the ass collar around the Stay Puffed Man's neck and finally attach the reins to the lobes of his external auditory canal. He begins to complain, and his complaints are worse than the braying of Myra's broken ass, so I apply tape of duct over his mouth. Then I Goldberg of Rube engineer the attachment of the gun of stun to his derriere with a trigger device leading to the seat. We acquire our seats in the cart with Mira in the back attending to her broken ass. Safia slaps the reins and Myra's Stay Puffed ass refuses to move and attempts to bray, which the tape of duct effectively blocks. I reach over and trigger the gun of stun, and Myra's Stay Puffed ass is properly motivated and accelerates at a tremendous velocity for him. Mira vocalizes, Safia, control the velocity of Ira's Stay Puffed ass. It is bothering your broken ass. Safia complains, that is not my ass. I am sitting on my ass. I add, Mira, your Stay Puffed ass is more belligerent than Safia's broken ass. Safia explained, you two do not understand the difference between a donkey and an ass. Mira elucidates, Safia, they are one and the same beast. Safia slaps her cranial carapace and states, ass can mean donkey, but it also means derriere. Suddenly Safia's mirth at our verbal exchanges makes sense. We both begin to giggle, and then Safia's Stay Puffed ass does something very bad. Flashback, Ben, sometime in the past, Back to the Future. I fumbled in my possibles bag for my compass, pulled it out, noted the direction where she had all the success. Then I heard, my Ben, it's time to wake up. I opened my eyes, and I was no longer in the Colorado woods. I was back in Russia. I was certain because I couldn't see shit. I smiled out in the direction I heard Tatiana's voice, and she asked, Ben, what were you dreaming about? I got all excited and blurted out, I finally figured it out after all these years. Tatiana questioned, what are you talking about? I told her the whole dream, only leaving out the really weird part about possibly killing the bear. I heard doubt in her voice as she examined me. Ben, are you telling me this happened? Your father tried to kill you? Shit. I forgot that was weird too, so I laughed. Tatiana, I never call him a father since he never was a father to me, and having him try to kill me was not the weirdest thing he ever did. As for the rest of the dream, I feel you don't understand, so let me explain it to you. The fox was almost 100% successful hunting when she pounced on hidden animals while facing exactly 20 degrees off from magnetic north. I then realized she still had no idea what I was trying to say, so I reloaded and tried again. Listen, we know that lots of animals, from cows to bees, can sort of navigate using the Earth's invisible fields of energy, but no other animal, to our current knowledge, uses it to hunt. She ignored me and turned into the serious nurse. Ben, I must divulge something serious and you need to listen to me. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. I must talk with Ben's doctors about the narcotics they are giving him. I was certain the obviously gruesome nightmare he had was narcotic-induced, even though he tried to convince me it was a memory from reality. But before I did that, I had to tell him how crucial it was that he not try to sit or stand. I used my most stern nurse's voice, which had terrified most men, and explained, Ben, the radiologist says that you must not put any vertical weight on your back, or you may never walk again. He has also arranged for a very special surgeon to come and perform an emergency operation on your back. I was shocked when Ben began to laugh. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. Tatiana pulled the crabby-ass nurse's voice on me. Oh, it was good, but I had previously heard this from the best. I laughed and ordered, Tatiana, cut the bitchy nurse act and get your ass over here and give me a kiss before I jump out of this bed and spank your ass. I could tell I shocked the hell out of her, but she flew to my side, pushed down on my shoulders and yelled, Ben, you had better not try to get out of this bed. She didn't give me the kiss, so I figured she wanted to be spanked, and with her hands on my shoulders I estimated where her butt was, and... Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. We walked into Ben's room right as he delivered a hell of a swat to Tatiana's butt. Tatiana jumped about 5 feet and began what I could only assume was swearing at Ben in Russian. I laughed and needed to save that idea for later with Masha. Tatiana saw us, turned about 50 shades of red, ran over, and started what I could only assume was bitching to Masha about what happened. The whole time Ben laughed his ass off in the bed. Masha turned to me, and I braced myself, but was shocked when she begged, Jack, you need to control Ben. I interrupted. Hell, it was just a swat, and it's not like anyone can control Ben. Ben piped up when he should have kept his mouth shut. You got that right. Masha put her finger over my lips. I almost asked her about not touching my lips with her dirty hands, but wisely didn't. As she stated, Jack, Ben's back injury is more severe than stupid Dr. Kirov diagnosed. The radiologist says that any vertical force on Ben's back could totally prevent him from walking ever again. I swore, that perv, I need to kick his butt. Tatiana, are you telling us the truth? Tatiana began to sob and say more shit in Russian, so I figured that was confirmation enough. I grinned at Ben and came up with a hell of an idea. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. I couldn't believe it, but when I got well I was going to kick Jack's ass so hard that he was going to need a podiatrist instead of a dentist. I could hear the laughter in Jack's voice when he told Masha, the only way I know to keep Ben in bed is to put him in full restraints. Of course Masha translated that to Tatiana, which she didn't need to do. Tatiana sassed, yes, that can be arranged, and I don't even need a doctor's order. I swore at all of them. I'm going to kick the ass of any man or woman that tries that shit with me. I don't like being tied down. Jack was acted like even more of a scumsucker and declared, well, if you aren't going to follow orders then we would need to do this for your own good. Tatiana added fuel to the raging inferno. Yes, and then I could make sure your hands stayed where they belonged instead of spanking me. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. I could tell Ben was getting too worked up and was going to do something stupid, like try to get up. So I said, Ben, if you aren't going to follow your doctor's orders then this is the only solution I can think of. He challenged, yeah, I'd sure as hell like to see one of you, or hell all 3 of you try to put restraints on me. Tatiana walked close to him and said some more shit in Russian, which seemed to calm Ben down. Damn, I really needed to learn Russian. Masha smiled at me and said, Tatiana just asked Ben nicely if he would listen to the doctor's orders. Damn, even Russian women knew that trick. I filed that away for when Masha pulled that on me. The change in Ben was immediate, but then he got excited about something else and motioned to me. I walked over and noticed that Tatiana went to talk to Masha and whispered something to her that seriously embarrassed her. Ben told me this whole story about foxes having about 100% success hunting when they were 20 degrees off magnetic north. He finished with, "Listen, we know that lots of animals, from cows to bees, can sort of navigate using the Earth's invisible fields of energy, but no other animal, to our knowledge, uses it to hunt." I questioned, "And that helps us how?" Ben's response made me wonder. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. At least Jack listened to my theory about foxes being able to not only judge the Earth's magnetic fields, but use them in hunting. But he didn't follow what I thought was a possible epiphany, so I explained some more. "Well, Jack, perhaps the foxes know something we don't. Perhaps we should try to line up our shots so they are about 20 degrees off magnetic north." He laughed and said, "Shit, Ben, you never miss now. What the hell more could you want?" It was my turn, so I laughed. "Jack, that was spoken like a man in love, not my spotter. You know that I sometimes miss." He countered, "Yeah, miss to you is what? A quarter minute of angle, 1.047 inches at 100 yards. 1/4 MOA is 0.26175 inches at 100 yards? I countered, "Hell no. You know it's an eighth MOA. And what's an eighth MOA at 1,000 yards? Jack got serious and said, "Almost 131 inches, and that's a hell of a miss." I laughed. With that, I rest my case. Eighth MOA isn't good enough for a first shot kill. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. I provided payback to Masha for embarrassing me earlier by asking why the bathroom reeked of coitus. Then we witnessed the most interesting conversation between Ben and Jack. Ben was able to explain the fox nightmare to Jack, which he interestingly didn't discount as a dream, and then integrated it into his profession. To be exact, I was dumbfounded. They talked about killing people and first shot kills like the killers we discovered they both were. I looked at Masha, and I knew we needed to have a talk about this soon because I wasn't going to divulge this or any other critical information to our superiors. Besides, if I talked about foxes and magnetic north, they would assume I was crazy. I stated, "Jack, please make sure Ben stays in his bed. I need to discuss things with Masha." We walked out of the room, and Masha stated, "Tatiana, do not worry. We both know we will not be giving any information to our superiors." I was shocked, so I continued, "Masha, how do you plan on keeping from getting in trouble?" She explained, "Tatiana, I had to think long and hard about this, but I decided that since I have some incriminating information on many of our superiors, I will arrange for it to be released should anything happen to me or even to you." I gasped, "Does this mean?" Flashback, Major M. I decided I had my fill of this bullshit, and if they were going to keep me here, then I was going to kick some ass and break out of this bullshit prison. Shit, the guards didn't even carry guns, and if that wasn't bogus, I didn't know what was. I waited until I heard them coming down the hallway, marked by the noise from their shoes and laughter. I steeled myself by the door. It opened. I sprung, and screw me no. Flashback, Colonel Maggie. I was having a good conversation with the guards as we headed toward the Major's cell. When they opened the door, the Major sprang toward me, but I knew better than to let that scumsucker ever get the jump on me. I kicked him square in the balls, and he collapsed to the floor in a heap. I stated, "Well, Major, you can add trying to strike your commanding officer to your list of screw-ups over here." He whimpered, "When did you become my commanding officer?" I handed him the orders and laughed. "Since the old man decided you needed someone to teach you how to relate to the Russian people, and since you blew the photo op that he wanted. Now, get your sorry ass up off the floor and greet me in a proper manner." He stood at attention, and I ordered, "Major, you should be ashamed of yourself. You smell like shit. Now let's get you to a hotel and cleaned up before we go to the hospital to check on the Corps' new hero." I added that because I knew it would piss him off. We left the cell as the guards laughed their butts off. Flashback, Major M. Someday, I swore, I was going to find some way to get even with the fat old man. I couldn't believe he sent this bitch over here and made her my commanding officer. He knew how much she hated my guts, and that was after I bonked the bony old bitch all one damn night. And it was the worst damn night of my life. Hell, I still had nightmares about her. It was like screwing a drill sergeant as she ordered, "Do it this way, do it that way, don't you know anything? Get the hell off me and hand me my toy." I finally figured out she was a bi, and shit, there was no pleasing them. I questioned, "You have a hotel already?" She barked, "Major, when I want you to speak, I will order you to speak." Of course, you sorry excuse for a Marine, that was the first thing I did. I thought to myself, and you left me rotting in that damn prison while you did it. I wondered if there was someone to make this bony old bitch disappear over here. We walked into the hotel. She got one key and stated, "Major, Because of your hero, Sergeant, they only had one room free, so we will be forced to share it. I will take the bed, and you will sleep on the floor. There will be no unauthorized contact. That was the best thing I had ever heard her say. We got to the room, and she continued her orders. Now here's your damn luggage. Some Russian bimbo had it. Be a good little boy. Get in the bathroom. Get cleaned up and in uniform. We want to make a good impression in case the press is still around. I swore I was going to kill this bitch and then find some way to get even with the old man. Then I had a hell of an idea. This revenge would be a dish served very cold. Flashback, Glenn. I called. Jennifer, I need to talk to you. She opened her door and replied, I'm on the phone and will be right down. I wondered who she was talking to, so I picked up the phone and heard, "Bye, we'll talk later." I didn't hear a reply, so I'm not sure who the hell Jennifer was talking to. She came downstairs and I ordered, "Young lady, we need to have a talk." She looked guilty and confessed. Flashback, Jens. Megan gave me a great idea, so I confessed. Daddy, I need to confess something to you. I discovered there were many free resources online to study Russian, so I decided to use the money you told me I could spend to send flowers in our name to the poor hurt Marine in Russia. I meant to tell you, but I forgot about it because I've been so busy. Daddy stared at me. Then his eyes softened and I knew he'd bought it. He said, Jennifer, the next time you forget to tell me something like this, I will take away your credit card for a month. I gave him my best sad look and answered, I will make sure to tell you if I ever do this again. Now, is there anything else you needed to ask me? He asked. Well, if you're not busy, I could use a sandwich. I looked at him and scolded, Daddy, you don't need a sandwich this time of night. I would be happy to get you a rice cake. He swore, shit. I hate those damn things that you and your mother torture me with. No, I don't want a damn rice cake. I smiled and said, well, I need to get back to my studies. He nodded and I ran back upstairs. However, I knew better than to call Megan because I knew Daddy would be listening in on the phone, so I sent her an email and told her things worked perfectly. Flashback, Glenn. Damn rice cakes. Eating one of those was like chewing on styrofoam. Hell, I'm a Marine and I need real food, not something the Chinese developed to destroy America. I wandered into the kitchen, opened up the fridge, and damn, no lunch meat anywhere. I grabbed the bread, popped a couple slices in the toaster, grabbed the jelly out of the fridge and the peanut butter from the pantry. Imagine a Marine general reduced to eating PB and JS. Flashback, Safia, Mira, and Ira in Israel. I finally got the twins to understand that, but meant both donkey and derriere, and they were overcome with laughter. Unfortunately, the Stay Puft Man used their mirth to his advantage. He rapidly changed direction down a side street, which upset the cart and dumped all of us on the ground, including Myra's broken butt. The evil Stay Puft tipped the cart over, which deposited all of us, including Ira's broken butt, on the firmament. The cart of butt righted itself, then the evil Stay Puft, but accelerated at a great rate. I yelled, Ira, your adipose Stay Puft, but is escaping. Ira complained, Mira, to which, but are you referring, the donkey or the derriere? I giggled and questioned, Ira, if we refer to the butt's derriere, then is it not the shit's butt? Safia interjected, will you two quit assing around? We need to catch the cart. I oculated Ira and questioned, Ira, this seems to be a new application of the word, but which fits neither derriere or donkey. Ira responded, yes, Mira, you are correct. Safia, what new definition have you assigned to the word butt? Safia slapped her cranial carapace and yelled, you two are all assed up. I'm going after the ass cart. She began to give chase to the cart of butt. Ira questioned, Mira, I think that is yet one more application of the word butt, and I'm not certain, however, I believe it was an insult. I postulated, Ira, we need to assist Safia and then acquire the lowest level of this but mystery. We both arose from our butts, this time I mean derrieres, and pursued the cart of butt, this time I mean donkey. Ira corrected, perhaps this is an assed up mystery. I giggled because I liked the sound of that. Dear listeners, next part of the story will be released soon. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.